It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. Stacey Higginbotham's here. Aunt Pruitt's here. And there's a whole lot of news here. The new Pixel 4a is out. We're going to talk about Samsung's big event. What the heck is going on with TikTok? And that's just scratching the surface. This Week in Google is next. This Week in Google comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. Securing every access point in your company doesn't have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 571, recorded Wednesday, August 5th, 2020. The first rule of Pixel Club. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple and smart. That place is ZipRecruiter, where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. Try it free at ziprecruiter.com/twig. And by LastPass. Help your remote workforce do their best work without jumping through hoops to ensure your business's security with LastPass. Visit lastpass.com/twit to find out how they can help you. And by Monday.com. Monday.com is a flexible platform to manage any team, project, or workflow online. Collaborate, plan, and track everything your team is working on, wherever they are. To start your free 14-day trial, go to monday.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show we cover the latest news from the Googleverse. Aunt Pruitt is here in his barn, apparently. Hi, Aunt. Good to see you. Welcome.
Where's Mr. Ed?
Hello. Hello, Aunt. That is a good look. I'll tell you, I like that better than the white background. That's nice.
Well, thank you.
That's nice. Did you build that yourself?
Yeah, I figured since this is now where my roots are going to be set, I might as well just start chopping wood and putting stuff together.
That's it. Build that up. Get the boys in there.
Ideas.
The hard heads can hammer with their heads.
That's right.
That's Jeff Jarvis. He is the 10 out of 10 award-winning Rate My Skype Room professor. Also, we must say the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. I should have done that in my David Attenborough voice from last week. That would be good. Next time I'll do that. And all the way from the beautiful Pacific Northwest, where she still has power, even though Jeff doesn't, it's Stacey Higginbotham. Mm-hmm. Hello, Stacey.
Oh, Jeff, you don't have power?
No.
We're on generator.
Oh.
Yeah.
A tree fell on
Is
a
that
line.
from a storm? Oh, it's just a tree.
Trees.
The storm no one could pronounce.
What was it, Isaiah?
No.
It was I. You got it? I can't do it.
No, I'm trying to remember. Isaiah? It's
Isaiah?
The E.
Isaias.
It's the
Isaias.
third syllable has the emphasis.
Isaias.
Isaias.
Isaias Hurricane?
It's a really
So
neat
Leo,
name, actually.
It is.
It is. It's going to come back in
odd.
5 years, unless people complain.
So
Leo, you said you had breaking news as we come on the air? That you're not breaking wind anymore?
No, I'm not going to do that. No, don't leave me on. But do you like my avocado shirt? Look at that.
It's very nice.
Look at that.
Isaias.
Isaias. That sounds right.
I think that's right. I think that's good, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I like your avocado shirt. I noticed it right away, and I was like,
thank you.
Leo has gone casual.
I want to thank.
Where does one get an avocado shirt?
In San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. This is from
I love San Miguel de Allende.
Next time you're down there, go to Abrazos Designs, and I'll tell you.
Abrazos, hug.
Very good. Yeah, and it's actually online at abrazossanmiguel.com. And they make these. I have many of these shirts thanks to our listener, Winton Churchill, who sends me these from time to time. He also sent me a matching avocado mask.
Wow.
Look at you. Look at you.
This confirms what I have been thinking all along, which is that in the new world, masks will be a fashion statement. and you will have a mask that matches your couture.
Nancy Pelosi already does that.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. So that's pretty
she's
nice,
fancy.
huh? Isn't that nice?
I sent
That mask
Kirsten
is
the
too small.
matching bow tie and mask.
Nice.
We're seeing a lot of clever mask designs. Might as well, if you're going to wear them, might as well have them look good, right?
There's
Yeah.
a mask prize. There's an X prize for designing the best mask, $1 million. This was recently announced, like an hour ago. X prize. Did y'all see this?
I think our Jammer B, our UV mask that we just bought on Kickstarter for a ridiculous amount of money should definitely win the Xbox X prize. Look at that. They've raised $2.3 million.
Wow.
Still 9 days to go. It's not too late. This has inside.
Meet UV Mask, the next generation reusable mask with powerful UVC purification
like you're a horse.
technology.
Yeah.
Looks like you got oats in there. But no,
Yeah.
it's actually got a little vortex that the air goes in and out through, and it's lit by UV light. So it's actually getting sterilized.
How well? You have to have a certain amount of coverage and length of time on
I
UV
know.
for it actually.
That's why it's a
sterilize. But
vortex.
How heavy is this?
No,
This
we
looks really heavy.
won't know.
How much did it cost you?
$100, 100 smackers. It has a lithium-ion battery in it because it's active, and so
Does it make noise like a laptop?
yeah. Shh, I don't know. But John bought this first, and I said, John, you can't have it if I can't have it. So I bought one too.
Of course.
So
I'm with Mrs. Stacy though. How much does it weigh? That's what I'd like to know.
well,
So it's Kickstarter, so you're going to get it after we have the vaccine and everybody's cured.
yeah. They say October
yeah.
2020. Yeah, no, we're not going to get it for years. But you know what? I think it'll be kind of like something for the Smithsonian, right?
Along with
It
your
will be.
Q
It is
cap.
indicative of the time.
It is indicative
It
of
is.
the time. So anyway, that's going to be that should win the X prize, don't you think?
Forget foggy glasses.
Yeah,
No.
because it's like a fan. It goes.
That's gonna way too. I mean, like anything on my face or my
I
head
know.
can trigger migraines. So I'm like,
Yeah, you
Oh,
can't do
yeah.
it. In fact, you probably do. Do you hate masks in general?
I don't know. I mean, they're very useful.
They can't be tight. They can't be tight on you, probably.
They're all right. I mean, they do what they do. I don't wear them for that long because I'm never.
Yeah.
You know.
You're not going to the local bar.
Well, I
Well,
went
if I
crazy
am
with
going
the
to the
mask
book-
with the CPAP.
Yeah, that's like that. I wish they
yeah.
said what the weight was. It has two 1,800 milliamp hour batteries. So that by itself, that's half a pound right there, I think. So it's going to weigh something.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
feel it.
You're going to feel. You're going to know you're
It's
wearing
got a
your
light
mask.
and a fan in it. Yeah, there's a lot going on in
There's a
there.
lot going on. I wish they had.
So
any-
I just had an idea for Karsten. I'm going to make him famous.
Yeah.
Since he's into masks, instead of rate my Skype room, he could have a site of rate my COVID mask.
Well, we are doing Carson's Mask of the Week. You know that,
Right, but no, he could do a whole site. Everybody who's on TV, he can get a screenshot.
Do it.
He can become.
Do it.
Oh,
The Mask Man.
The Rate My Mask
Mask
Man. I get it on
Yes.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Hey, Ed,
Right.
did you get a strange security message on your Twitter today?
I sure
did.
did, sir. Don't know why.
Who else
It was
got it?
on.
You got it
I
too,
was on my
Stacey?
desktop like
Got
I
it.
normally am when I'm
Oh.
checking out Twitter.
I just
Yeah,
got
I
it
was on my
too.
desktop.
We recently
you got it
discovered
too.
a security issue in Android OS 8 or 9. Can you show this? That could have impacted you. Our understanding is 96% of people using Twitter for Android already have an Android security patch installed that protects them from this vulnerability. Since you are I'm on Linux. Since you are no longer using a vulnerable version of Twitter for Android on this device, you don't need to do anything. We felt it was important to let you know. To scare the pants off of you. Well, let me
but
launch Twitter
I
on my
didn't-
Android device.
I didn't get anything on my phone. That's what I was going to say. Is I use it on my phone from time to time, and I didn't get a thing on there.
I did. It says I'm not. But do you use the Twitter official Twitter app?
Yes, sir. So bizarre, right?
Anyway, I guess that's a word of warning for everybody.
We need to go question the teenagers in Florida.
Yeah. So my question is, what exactly happened?
Yeah. Twitter ain't going to tell you that. Maybe Steve Gidson will tell us next week. Yeah, I think aren't there laws now, disclosure laws? I know there are for privacy breaches, for security breaches.
They don't have to tell you. I mean, they don't. They just have to say
we were breached.
Well, they do actually have to tell you what data was breached if they know.
Let's go to the privacy.twitter.com website. Twitter for Android security vulnerability. We don't have evidence this vulnerability was exploited by hackers.
They're just going to be careful as hell now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame them.
No.
It's actually, they're pointing at Android. They're saying it affects Android 8 and 9. It's an underlying Android OS security issue. Well,
and they know you've used Android because right now you're on the web.
Yeah, that's interesting. They must know I have used it, or they're just
they know who you are. I mean, they know you're logging in from your account from whatever device.
Yeah.
I wasn't having a moral panic. Don't worry.
Oh, I was like, Jeff, it makes sense. This time.
This is from the.
Where's Ann? I need to high five you.
October 2018 Android security vulnerability in the framework that could enable a remote attacker using a specially crafted file to execute arbitrary code within the context of a privileged process. That's about as bad as you could get. That means they could essentially take over your phone.
That says 2018.
Yeah, that's
that was almost 2 months or 2 years ago.
Yeah. That's why it's 8 and 9. Okay, well, critical vulnerability, but you've updated by now, surely.
Yes.
Surely. And that's what Twitter's saying. You know, you have to wonder if this is a little bit of security theater. They just want to say, look, we're on top of everything now.
We're doing our best.
You can imagine.
As after Kirk, we're not taking any chances. We were wondering why by the way, the kid who perpetrated this crime, did we mention this yet? No, I think not. I think this happened
not on this show.
Since last week. 17-year-old, just graduated out of high school from Tampa, Florida. I don't want to say his name because he is a minor, even though he will be tried as an adult for 30 felonies for the Twitter hack. He had 2 accomplices.
And he's a troubled kid. I mean, it's a tragic story, really.
Yeah,
The Twitter social engineering, that is.
So, yeah, the social engineering. So, and we also, I think, from the indictment, have a better idea of what happened. Remember, we said that he was able to get the Slack credentials, the Twitter God mode credentials from Slack, which he got into, we don't know how, but it had 2-factor on it. Ooh, good on you, Twitter. So he called Twitter employees posing as Twitter security. I can imagine the call going something like, hello, this is Twitter security. We seem to be having a problem with our authentication servers. I just want to verify. Could you open your 2-factor for your God Mode app? And are you getting the ID 602134? Whoa, no, I'm not. What are you getting? 183642. Oh crap. Okay, well, we're going to go fix that. Bye. Something like that. That's a dramatization.
Thanks for the fish.
Yeah. He had 2 accomplices, one in the UK, another one who was from California but was in Florida at the moment. One was 22, another one was, I think, 17 or 18. It's, yeah. You know, a lot of the people I've talked to, I won't name names, somewhat privately mostly, but people in my business, geeks, hackers, they go, yeah, well, I did things like that when I was a kid. Maybe not quite so public and brazen, but it's not unusual for teenagers to try to push the boundaries. And then the New York Times had a story on him and how he was mean. He was mean to other kids. And apparently always trying to scam them out of small amounts of money and stuff like that. So I feel bad. I'm not going to name his name because A, it's just an indictment. It's alleged. He hasn't been convicted. And B, he's a minor. And I don't, although it wouldn't be hard to find his name. It was doxed
it's everywhere.
Which I think.
But I agree. I think that's good of you.
Isn't that kind of the journalistic thing is you don't say the name of minors.
When all of this started, when all of this came down, one of the hardheads comes running downstairs. He's like, you were talking about the Twitter hack on our group chat, and it was a teenager. And I tried to explain to him that it was social engineering, and this is why all of these previous years, when we're out in public together as a family and people are asking us questions, I lied through my teeth.
There you go.
And they always look, my kids would always look me in the face like, that's not right, Dad. I'm like, no, I'm lying through my teeth on purpose because people can just skim information, over time and use it against you.
Okay, let's try this.
Oh, man.
Sir, where were you born?
I was born in Johannesburg.
You need an accent for that.
No.
He has one, just the wrong one. And your mother's maiden name?
Not yours.
None yet.
Edouard Schrödlu.
Yeah, Edouard Schrödlu. There you go. Good article in, I think ZDNet had the most. Caitlin Sempeno from Zero Day on ZDNet had the very best kind of breakdown of the hack with all of the information and all of the, these are the Discord conversations. Kirk, who is the 17-year-old saying, I work for Twitter. I can claim any @ for you. Let me know. Don't tell anyone. And then one of the accomplices, codenamed Rolex, LOL, prove it. Give me your Twitter @ I'll pull it up. Vienna Cat 921. That's yours? Yeah. And of course, he then proves he has God mode because he does something. Changes a password or tweets in his name. So Rolex said, oh, dude, let me introduce you to Ever So Anxious. Kirk puts the Bitcoin address that we all know and love so very much in and says, send your Bitcoin to this address, 5K. I'll give you 3 OG usernames. Guy wants at vampire, at XX, and at dark. But earlier, you could tell he's a kid because Kirk says, Rolex says, I'm going to say $1,000 minimum. Cool? Yeah. And then he puts a link up on ogusers.com, which is where people trade these OG names. Mm-hmm. I put 1K minimum. Let's say that for non-OG, how about $2,500 for OG? Oh, no, $1,000 for all is fine. So... little OPSEC problem, though, here all along. For one thing, they shared the usernames in various places. On the OG users account, by the way, that was breached a couple of years ago, so the FBI had a data dump of all the accounts on OG users, including IP addresses. So they were able to cross-reference that with the Discourse handle, same handle. But the real mistake was... when he registered that Bitcoin address, he did it at Coinbase, which requires a picture of your driver's license, which he used.
Oh, yeah. Small detail.
Little thing. So
this is teenagers. They never think anything through. They're just dumb.
Yeah, it shows he's not a criminal mastermind.
Yeah, so he should. I mean, honestly,
what the hell's going on here? And
dumb kids should not be tried like adults.
Sparko Cam, whatever that is taken over. Doesn't sound real. I wouldn't give it your home address.
So is Twitter all the more humiliated that they got owned by a dumb teenager, not by a state actor?
Well, they're not. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this guy was a mastermind, brilliant criminal." We nabbed him. But all of them use their real world driver's licenses to verify their account.
Twitter has to be embarrassed even more, I would think.
I don't think.
I mean, this happens. I don't know. I don't think they'd be.
Yeah, I know, but North Korea uses all its resources against you. It's a little cooler than a pimply faced kid in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nation state. 17-year-old nation state from Florida. So anyway, busted. And I think honestly, the fact that he had such poor operational security, I mean, using your real driver's license to register the Bitcoin address is pretty much saying, catch me. Right?
Yeah.
Pure ignorance on it all.
Or ignorance or whatever.
Yeah, he just doesn't know what he's doing.
19-year-old in UK, 22-year-old in Orlando also charged. Obviously, all of these will be plea deals. I don't know whether they'll do time. They are trying the 17-year-old Kirk as an adult.
What's a just outcome here?
You know what often happens with these guys? I think of people like Kevin Mitnick, Kevin Polson, Adrian Lamo. They almost always do some time. I don't think that's a good idea because that's honestly the best way to learn criminal practices is to do it.
Yeah, you could actually use it to steal a lot of money.
Yeah. But they often do serve some small amount of time. And then in the case of Kevin Mitnick,
they get a movie.
He was first he was forbidden from using the internet for a period of time after his release. I don't remember how long Kevin did. I feel like it was a year and a half. I know he lived on tuna fish. He did the time. He was a young guy. Crimes not, roughly the same as these. Very similar. He scammed radio station contests. Then he got out. Then he got a job in security, which is often what happens with these guys. Kevin Polson is now a journalist. But often what happens is they get offered a job. And I think sometimes that's, by the way, not unusual that's the hope of these young guys is, look, I'll show how sharp I am. Poor Adrian Lamo, who I honestly don't think he had a mean bone in his body. He was never tried to make money on his hacks. I think he was honestly just trying to get a job as a pen tester, but he got the book thrown at him. So, I don't think hacking Twitter is a great thing, but there's a little bit of culpability on Twitter's part. That should not have been easy. In fact, former Twitter employees have said that as many as 1,000 people had access to that God mode administrative tool.
That's 1,000.
Way too many.
That's a lot of people. That doesn't make me feel great. I mean, I don't send information via DMs anyway. I'm like, hey, let's use Signal. Let's go to voice. Let's do anything that is not,
Yeah.
Actually, I'm now reading also by Catalin Chimpano from Zero Day that Twitter exploit you and I just saw, the upshot of it is that it grants access to DMs.
Oh.
So, but please don't use DMs on Twitter for anything you wouldn't want the world to see. That's just nuts. Kirk did download. Now Twitter's saying, initially, remember I said 8 DMs from 8 accounts. I think it ended up being 36, something like that. Much larger number. But I don't think he was
So I have a question for you. On Signal, I get messages that, your friend Stacy's on Signal now.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I mentioned that to my wife, and she was appalled for something that's supposed to be heavy in security. How does that work?
The thing that happens with Signal is you are connected to it through your phone number, which a lot of people think is a bad idea because that's a real world connection to a real person. A lot of people use burner numbers to get around this, but ultimately it needs to be a number that you can get a text message on. And that's problem one. But problem two, and you had to give permission, I believe, when you first installed Signal, is it will then do what every other app does, which is download your contact list.
Check your contacts.
Yeah, but just say no. I mean,
say
like
no to
I
that,
said
and you
no
won't
to
get
that.
those notices. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big mistake for Signal to do that. Signal has been talking about replacing the phone number with another system with a PIN, but it does have to be a unique identifier. So that's the trick.
Right.
Yeah,
it's kind of off-brand for Signal. Let's say
it is off-brand, but so that's an interesting question. And there's always a trade-off between security and convenience. And in this case, Signal said, well, there's some people who want this. We want to be more like a messaging program. We want people to use it. Let's take a break, and then we'll talk about the Samsung event.
Already?
I have so many commercials today.
Oh, that's such good news.
Oh, and I'm so excited to talk about Samsung. Yes. Okay.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I already put my order in. I'm curious. Did you put an order in? Don't say what.
No. Okay. Sorry.
You could just say whether you did or not, but I will talk about it in just a second. It was a weird event. Jason Howell and I got up very early, 7 a.m. Pacific time this morning, to
That's
cover
not
it.
early.
For me, it is.
Have you seen this guy get started in the week?
Is he grumpy? Ant, is he really grumpy?
It's not grumpy. It's definitely not motivated either.
Yeah, it's moving slow. But I had to get up even earlier than that because I had to set up the lights and the cameras and all that stuff. So, I got up at 6:15. That's pretty early for me.
That's early.
Actually, on Wednesdays, I have a Pilates class at 6:15 every week, so it isn't early at all. But I like to play it off. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Yeah, there are people hiring. There are. And I think that's a good thing. I want to encourage you. And I want to also make sure that if you are hiring, you use the best tool in the world, the one we use, ZipRecruiter. Hiring is hard because you're hiring, you're building your company. The people of the company are the building blocks that can make or break your company. So you're doing probably the most important job, which is hiring people. You got new difficulties these days, right? But ZipRecruiter was kind of made for quarantine because it's all done online. In fact, it's amazing. You submit your opening to ZipRecruiter. They have some really sophisticated matching technology that will look at, they have millions of resumes on file, current resumes. They'll look at what they've got on file and they'll match them up and they'll tell the person, hey, we've got an opening over here you might be qualified for, you might be interested in. They apply. And by the way, when you get applicants at ZipRecruiter, they don't call you, they don't go in your email. It all goes into the ZipRecruiter interface. They format the resumes so they're easy to scan. You can have screening questions. It makes it really easy to load up a lot of applicants, to get all the people in there, screen out the applicants that just aren't right, narrow it down. They'll even highlight the best applicants automatically for you so you can find the right person fast. Perfect example, Housing Wire. And you'll like this, Jeff, because Housing Wire was looking for a reporter to cover news stories in the U.S. housing markets. Hard thing to do right now. You're not going to put an ad in the paper and have people come to the office.
What's a paper? What's a paper? What's an ad?
Yeah, really? What? Yeah, good point. So you go to ZipRecruiter, right? That's what they did, and that's how they found it. It's a nice story. Alexandra Roja, she figured, I'm not going to get a reporter job. I'm just going to have to wait till COVID is over. Nope, but she did do the right thing. In fact, I told my daughter and my son both, she created a profile on ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's automatic matching looked at Alexandra's degree and her writing skills, looked at Housing Wire's reporter job, and they said, Alexandra, you should apply. Housing Wire got her application 4 hours after they posted the job, and as often happens, they looked at it, and a few weeks later, Alexandra is working at Housing Wire.
I'm making a note right now for my son.
Yeah. Oh, I made sure. That's the first thing I did, is I made sure my kids were on there. Let ZipRecruiter help you hire. We have done it ourselves many times. We've hired from ZipRecruiter. I'll never forget Lisa going, somebody quit the first thing in the morning. She's going, oh, man. I said, look, ZipRecruiter, breakfast. We're sitting at breakfast. She puts the...
How early was breakfast?
6:15 a.m. No, it was probably around 8. We're having breakfast. She says, she puts it in. Within an hour or two, she starts getting applicants. She says, this person's good. She starts getting applicants. I said, but at lunch, she had 3 or 4 really qualified people. We filled that job fast. That's why we love ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get quality candidates within the first day. Try it now, free. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. No wonder they call ZipRecruiter the smartest way to hire. And I like it that my avocado shirt matches the ZipRecruiter logo. I am ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. Thank you, ZipRecruiter, for your support during this tough time. Thank you, dear listener,
that is a
for
very
supporting us.
Wonderful sign for the economy that they're advertising right now.
Absolutely.
Yes. That means that
absolutely.
That people need to hire and people
jobs
need to
are
be
happening.
hired
Yep.
too. Yeah, that's a good leading indicator.
We're actually starting to see advertising dollars come back into the market. Some of it's B2C, business to consumer, like the Caspers of the world. And some of it, a lot more of it, is B2B, is enterprise stuff. We're starting to do, and I think that's partly because it's Twit, because where else are you going to reach tech savvy?
Well, they can't, and they can't be sponsors of conferences anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. There's all
that's
that put away.
This is how you reach out.
Unless it's Stacy's conference, of course. But
yeah. Well, but Stacy, you're finding sponsors too easily, right?
Actually, we are almost sold out for the year, and we're already booking into February of next year.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
wow.
Yeah.
I know.
So I wonder whether there are new Caspers and new Harrys because of COVID. Are there things that people just aren't going to go to the store for anymore that created a new opportunity? I wonder.
Well, I see a ton of mask
Above ground
ads.
pools.
Yeah.
Mask ads are. That's a good one. Yeah.
There are a few things, aren't they? I mean, we've talked about this ever since. By the way, 141 days since we went into shelter in place here in California, since March 17th. We, from that day forward, started talking about what is this going to look like when we come out of this? How is the world going to change? And you're really starting to see some big changes. Didn't Dunkin' just announce that
800 stores? 800.
And are those closed for good?
I think so.
8% of its U.S. locations. That sounds not so bad, but 800 sounds like a lot of people.
My Bank of America's all around us. Not even by appointment are they open. And so I'm guessing that they're trying to figure out whether they can close a whole mess of offices. That's a guess.
And when you see Dunkin' doing this, what you're seeing is them trying to belt tighten.
Yep.
They've been keeping up with rents, but you're paying rent for something doesn't generate any revenue. They're belt tightening so that they can survive. And I think part of what's happening is we saw this last week when CES finally said, we're not going to do CES.
Yeah.
It takes a while. It's taking a while for people to get, this isn't going to be over in a month or two.
Right. People, nobody wants to admit things like this, right? You don't want to be like, oh, we're going to be here for the next year and a half, but we're finally having to accept that. And it sucks.
I got a COVID question for you, Leo. Do you, because this is now, Zainab Tavesky has written about this in The Atlantic, it's the next, after test, trace, isolate, the next important thing is ventilate. Do you have any control over the outside air into your studio and offices? Is that something you have to adjust or something? It does
worry me. This is a big unknown. I haven't read what Zainab wrote, but this is a big unknown because we do know that air conditioning spread it in at least one case in China, right? So, I've been trying to figure out what are the filters? What is it? The HERV scale? What are the HERV? Like not HERV, but something like that.
Yes.
No
Merv.
My dear boy Mervin. The MERV scale, what is the minimum that you would need? And nobody will say.
Right. Well, they don't know yet.
Because we don't know. So
I was like, it's not like they're being rude. They don't know.
One of the things we're doing is we're really reducing the number of people who are in studio. There are very few people who actually can come in here. And you needed a piece of equipment. We put it out the front door so that you could come pick it up without coming in. So that's one way we're doing that, is just really reducing the number of people in here. We also have these molecules in here which do some, an air purifier will get some of it. It's just unknown. I don't know. And, we're keeping social distance. I wear masks everywhere but in my studio and here. It's very difficult.
Wow.
It really is the we don't know virus.
I just put a link up to The Independent that says that air conditioning units that recirculate air in rooms and offices should be turned off or used only with open windows.
Okay. But who's that from?
Filters.
The Independent. It's on the rundown. It was linked to by one of my favorite experts among my many experts, Devi Sridhar, who's the expert who made Scotland work while the UK didn't. So I trust if she linked to it. The WHO said coronavirus can spread through tiny droplets of the air at closed spaces. Yeah, we knew that. Okay. The UK health and safety executive says the risk of air conditioning spreading coronavirus in the workplace is extremely low, as long as there is an adequate supply of fresh air and ventilations. But adds, if you use a centralized ventilation system that removes and circulates air to different rooms, it is recommended you turn off recirculation and use a fresh air supply if you have that control.
I see. I don't think this is
you can spread it around.
I don't think this is recirc. I think we're getting it. I don't know.
I don't know if my school too.
Yeah. Opening a window is the best thing you can do, but we're like many offices, we're sealed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to jump the gun because we've gotten all sorts of conflicting advice. Like, look at all the schools that are, taking a day to deep sanitize everything before the next class comes in. And now there's some concern. I just saw a piece in the Atlantic saying this is just security theater or antivirus theater, that it doesn't look like surfaces are really the problem. It's air. So I just don't know.
Nobody knows. Yikes.
We'll just do our best to stay healthy, right?
We were talking about CES being canceled. I'm curious about the contracts with the likes of CES and all of the relationships they had with the different hotels.
Yeah. Don't they buy
Wimbledon,
hotel rooms at a time? I think so.
Wimbledon was the only tennis tournament that had insurance that covered a pandemic.
Okay.
Good for them.
Yeah, exactly. But the others didn't.
Interesting.
The Atlantic today.
They've been doing great coverage.
I love the Atlantic. I pay for it because I love them. Immunology.
Same here.
Immunology is where intuition goes to die. This is Ed Young, who's great. I love his stuff.
He's brilliant.
This is his lead. He says, there's a joke about immunology, which Jessica Metcalf of Princeton recently told me. An immunologist and a cardiologist are kidnapped. The kidnappers threaten to shoot one of them, but promise to spare whoever has made the greater contribution to humanity. The cardiologist says, well, I've identified drugs that have saved the lives of millions of people. Impressed, the kidnappers turn to the immunologist. What have you done, they ask. The immunologist says, the thing is, the immune system is very complicated. And the cardiologist says, just shoot me now.
Ed Young's tweet promoting that story was, the origin of the story is one of my colleagues asked for an immunity explainer, and I said, God, no! Have you any idea how complicated immunology is? That would kill me. But then I realized I'm already dead inside, and I wrote the piece.
I just want to say that Ed Young wrote probably the most important piece I've read to date.
Yes.
On are you handling in the United States of the COVID crisis? And it's kind of amazing that a couple of days after he releases this, 10,000 word piece, he's got another article already. The guy is insane.
He's amazing.
But this is the one I actually don't recommend. I've not passed it around. It's too damn depressing how the pandemic defeated America. But it is very well written, very well researched.
100 interviews he did.
Brilliant guy. This is perhaps the most important article, not about the pandemic in general, but about our handling of it here in the United
Policy
States.
failures. Yep.
And the cracks that it exposed in our society. Anyway, Samsung Galaxy Unpacked.
So Sam's.
I was like, I thought we were going to talk about gadgets and not bringing us all down again.
That's why I don't send that link around, because it's depressing. Yep. So this morning, early morning, got up very excited. I did it from the house because I thought it'd be easier. I wouldn't have to put on pants. Jason Howell joined me from his house. They were a little late. Part of it was live, as best we could tell. A lot of it was pre-recorded. The biggest takeaway from me, and I'm curious what you thought, Stacey, because it sounded like you were more excited about this, was how little technical detail. They never once mentioned the processor. They barely mentioned the size of the batteries. They didn't talk about the cameras, the megapixels. They left almost all the technical specs out. They announced two new Galaxy Note phones, the Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra. They announced a new Galaxy Watch. They announced new Galaxy Buds. They announced a new Note Tab, a Galaxy Tab. They announced the new folding phone, but left out all the details. Maybe because it all had been leaked, or they knew that the embargoed reviews would be out right after the event. It was disappointing to me because it was, and maybe this is a COVID thing, because obviously reporters would have been there in years gone by. This was just a big ad with a lot of soft, mushy marketing terms for how wonderful the life would be using their stuff.
I felt like Apple pioneered this with like tech reporters going to their lunches. And I feel like this is just the end of that. COVID has pushed that. And I think it's probably right to do so, because for years, these events have been for two purposes. One, reporters to get all like, woo, get our coverage, but also to get pretty pictures and live blogs and page views and whatever, right? It was feeding the machine. And then your diehard fans and developers would also check in, but they weren't necessarily there to talk about like processing power or megapixels or what. I think maybe they aired too far on the giant ad side, but I think this is where we had been heading, and COVID has changed the audience for these to normal people, not just reporters. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That Samsung has done an amazing job of cornering the market of the regular person.
Number 2 manufacturer in the world after Huawei, and ahead of Apple.
You grab a regular person on the street that has a Samsung device, they could care less what the SoC is. They just want to make sure that camera makes them look really good when they're in the club. That's it.
Of course, I always look really good in the club.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. But
in your avocado shirt?
I haven't been in the club in 40 years probably, but okay. I think also it reflects the fact that we're at peak phone, that we are now, every technology gets to this point where speeds and feeds just don't matter anymore. Right. That you assume it's going to have a great camera. It's going to have a great screen. It's a Note, so it's going to have a stylus. You don't sweat the details. In fact, they spent more time talking about the color, Mystic Bronze.
Because that's what sells.
That's what people want.
So that's what I want to buy. I want that beautiful rose gold beans. They're just so adorable.
Oh, you're talking about the new earbuds. So I want to get. I'm going to get everything in bronze. I'm going to bronze all the things.
It's just so pretty.
So here's what I don't. So are you going to order one of these?
No.
No.
I don't. I'm not fancy. Although the flip phone, I gotta say, like,
you want to be fancy.
Around,
yeah, no, they have a new one.
I'm like, I would totally. That is like, give it to me.
And now it's
how much is it again?
Scotty,
Mystic Bronze, $799.99. And now in 5G.
I feel like my next phone, even though I'm ride or die for Pixel, I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, baby,
yeah, baby. Yeah, it folds in half. So it's nice and compact. I really love this hinge idea where you got a little. It's like a little mini laptop. You've got a screen on one half of it and
like an
controls.
You remember the iPods?
Yeah,
the little screen that you could watch. It's like that size.
Tiny little screen.
I think it's neat.
Oh, right.
They're doing that, by the way, with the new Galaxy Fold as well. They said that this hinge will also have an infinite angle, so that you can do the same thing. So the Fold, by the way, is going to be a very pricey phone, starting at $1,200. Here's what after thinking about $1,200. Yeah, I think right. Here's after.
I thought the Fold was more than that.
Well, it goes up $1,400, or maybe it's. I don't know. Let me learn more.
I got to look again because for some reason I thought it was more than that.
I've reserved it already. So here's what I know. I don't care about the price because it's for work, right? Because I want to do something as an experiment. One of the things they really were pitching is the Samsung ecosystem. Everything works better. This is what Apple has been saying for years. Everything works better if you're all Samsung all the time. So get the Fold, get the earbuds, get the watch. So I think to do it justice, I'm going to have to go all in. So I thought, well, we haven't really tried any of these folding phones yet. This is their second and a half generation.
I'm glad the advertising's coming back in.
I know this is probably, I don't know, it's going to be a lot of money. I know, as much as a real computer. But I think I'm going to get it all in Mystic Bronze because then it'll all match. I'll get the bean-shaped earbuds. Those are hysterical. Let me see if I can show you those. Those are so fun.
I want to talk about those because I can't imagine them staying in my ear.
Well, you don't have a bean-shaped ear.
More than likely, they also come with some additional wings.
Does it have
no wings. Look at her. She's either in great pain or having a good time. Can't tell.
Does it have the rubber tip or not?
It's like a young Lindsay Lohan. Look at that.
A lot of freckles.
Wow, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little rubber tip.
But a lot of the true wireless buds that you see on the market, the ad never shows the additional tips that comes with them.
But these will have tips. But look at the size of that.
Oh, yeah, that tip is so
It's wide.
shallow.
It's got 2 drivers in it, it looks like.
Oh, wow. 2 drivers is pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting. They haven't announced, I don't think they've announced a price for these. The watch, which is pricey, I think it's $400, is not Android Wear. And I think this is where Samsung's starting to see some benefits of creating Tizen, its own operating system. I feel like, they mentioned, but then had to say a little caveat, not available till we get FDA approval. But their new watch will, presuming it gets approved by the FDA, have blood pressure, have oxygen level, it'd be an oximeter, and an electrocardiogram. Of those 3, I think the only one they got FDA approval for was, it was only one.
It would probably be the EKG, because I think the
EKG is pretty established tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine how it's going to do blood pressure. But suddenly your watch is going to go.
No. It's just watching your blood flow.
It's probably using the green LEDs, right?
Yeah.
And then just running an algorithm.
It's probably not very accurate either, right?
Yeah, those are only as good as their algorithm.
Right.
I was looking at my Jabras, and I think what it is you'll do the twist when you put it in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the bean shape, they say, is because that's your ear canal shape. Yeah. It's kind of bean-like.
I just have weird ears. I cannot wear any of the Apple things. They just fall straight out.
Yeah. Well, this may not be for you. Anyway, I'm
still waiting for Google to fix theirs.
I thought I would get all of the above.
Kevin is watching, and he sent me a footnote on the Samsung phone prices. He said those prices include a phone trade-in, so you pay $200 to $400 more over the listed price without the trade-in.
Whoa!
So if you have an old Note, you can trade it in for the new one. And one of the things they do offer
price. Are they presuming the trade-in?
No, I don't know. I got a quote that didn't say you have to trade it in. You can if you want. Right. The other thing they say is you get a 50% return if you return it any time in the first 2 years in good shape. So you could in 2 years buy a new one and get a 50% back. So they're pushing this ecosystem. They want people to live in Samsung land.
The same way people live in the Apple world.
Yeah.
Exact same thing.
Yeah. One of the ways they're doing that is they're really promoting this DeX thing. Remember, DeX was a little thing where you dock your phone to a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, and you'd get kind of desktop applications. They're doing that again. They're doing it wirelessly this time. And they're doing it with Microsoft in the Your Phone app on Windows 10. So you can get some integration, some sort of desktop integration using DeX and using Your Phone on Windows 10. It's interesting. Samsung is doing the best it can, given that they're not Apple and they're not Google.
The problem that I have that would keep me from buying, like the Tab is what they call the tablet?
Tab
Galaxy
S7,
Tab.
yeah.
That thing looks really, really good from a spec sheet standpoint. iPad Pro competitor-ish, except it's a lot cheaper, right? But the ecosystem, the apps, where iPad Pro wins is there's so many great apps on there for everybody, not just the productivity people, but also the creators too.
If you look at this S7 and S7 Plus, it actually looks a lot more like a Surface Pro. It's got a kickstand. It has a keyboard with a trackpad.
Surface, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't talk about price, but I think this is not going to be much less than an iPad. iPad Pro starts at $1,000.
So is this 7 inches, or they're calling it an S7?
There's a 7 and 11 and a 12.4.
Oh, I'm still waiting. I
11
love
inches,
my
$649 when it goes on sale. The S7 Plus, $849. Those are pretty close to iPad Pro prices.
I want my Nexus 7.
Android tablets are a non-starter. In fact, that's one of the reasons they're pushing DeX. They're pushing Windows, interface with your phone. I don't really see a market particularly. Compared to the iPad.
Jeff is the market.
No, he doesn't want an Android tablet. Do you really?
Oh,
Jeff?
no.
I
he
love
wants
He'd rather have a Chrome.
The 7-inch, yeah. Samsung makes, I'm sure they make a 7-inch.
I think the lowest one is an 8, I think.
Is it?
I don't know. I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat room.
Why 7 versus 8? Is it
It
pocketability?
just fit my pockets.
It's nice
it was
and small.
it was
Okay.
good hand size. It was large enough to watch something on an airplane. I remember those.
Yeah.
But small enough to carry around really easily. It was a perfect size.
You know who didn't get mentioned at this event? Mr. Bixby.
Bixby, nor
No,
smart
Bixby.
things.
And in fact, Adam Chair, who was the creator of Siri, and then went on to join Samsung and do Bixby, has now left Samsung. So I think Bixby might.
He had a startup called Viv that
Viv.
Samsung
Remember
bought.
Viv? Yeah.
But Viv was not really a digital assistant for voice. It was using a voice interface to program web services.
Right. And that's kind of what Bixby became, is a way to interface with apps on the phone and kind of automate that. And I didn't find it very useful. The Bixby button's long gone. I think Bixby is not long for this world.
I still can't quite wrap my head around DeX and the use case for that.
Well, that's what's changed a little bit, because in the early days, the idea was, well, you're carrying this powerful processor with all your stuff on it. We got a lot of storage. Remember they used to say on the one of the Galaxy S's, the S8, I guess, and I bought one that had a terabyte of storage, and then you would dock it on the DeX dock, and then you'd have a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, and suddenly, you still have all your stuff, but now you're running desktop quality applications, except they never really were desktop quality applications. Now you're seeing Microsoft Outlook in there. You're seeing other Microsoft apps in there. I think maybe the idea is DeX gives more desktop-like experience to the tablet. That's more what DeX has become than your one computer that you carry with you everywhere. That's my guess.
Yeah. Makes more sense with the whole Office 365 package.
There's another reason Bixby might be saying bye-bye, because according to The Verge, Google has been pushing Samsung to push Google Assistant over Bixby. It doesn't like the fact that Samsung phones come, actually this is from Bloomberg, come with two different voice assistants.
Yeah, but didn't Samsung deny these so-called allegations or conversations?
I don't know. I think it's pretty clear Bixby is no longer a player. Do you use a Samsung? Ant? No, you use a Pixel. We all use Pixels.
I would try them now. I would try the Samsung nowadays because they've gotten much better with their software and not as much bloat on top of Android as it used to be, but just not really interested in them.
By the way, according to this story in Bloomberg, this wouldn't be for free. Google would pay Samsung billions of dollars, perhaps, to use the assistant instead of Bixby. I think with Bixby's not long for this world. I honestly do. I don't think anybody used it.
Bye, Bixby.
Bye, Bixby. In a related story, Cortana also not long for this world. It's down to Echo, Google's voice, and Siri. Siri way behind at this point. So what do you think you'll get?
Siri could get better fast, though, if Apple just... Like Apple's, I feel like Apple's the kind of company that will one day just be like, oh, by the way, we're giving you an update, and now Siri actually understands what you want.
If it comes from anybody, it'd be Apple, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
More than Google?
Well, you don't see Apple make the incremental steps. They just suddenly are like, boom, we're here. Yeah. Whereas Google will take you through all the steps.
Here's the reason I agree with you. Apple is clearly working really hard on an augmented reality spectacles. And that's going to be 2022 probably. That's where you would really want a good assistant. Right?
Yeah. Good voice interaction with somebody who actually understands you.
Because otherwise, you don't have a keyboard, you don't have a mouse, you can look in your voice, that's all you have. So that's right. If they're going to do that, that's when they do it.
They could be optimizing. So like Amazon and Google both optimized for voice only for a while. And then Google added displays and or Amazon. I can't remember the order. But like if Apple's thinking, well, we're going to do voice and a heads-up display together, then that changes how you design it and what you optimize for, because you're also going to have to be able to give the computer context clues about when you deliver display versus a audio response. So they're basically trying to do two things in parallel. And you know how like when kids, they grow up dual language, they learn to spell and read a little bit later because their brains are still learning two different tasks, two different languages. Maybe Apple's kind of in that.
Apple is. I could tell you from experience because all of Apple's Siri devices have a screen except for one, which is the HomePod. And unfortunately, we have a HomePod in our living room, and it often picks up Siri commands, and its response is more often than not, I can't do that because I don't have a screen. Can't help you there. Ask your phone because I got nothing.
I got nothing. I got a speaker.
Yeah.
Thinking about the Samsung phones and just that whole marketing spiel that they sort of presented today, it reminded me of some conversations that I've had with a couple of hands-up photography listeners that's getting these new phones, and they're wanting to know about what app should I get to make the camera better and make the camera do this and do that. And I had to tell them, I said, nowadays we're pretty much, like you said, Mr. Laporte, we're at peak phone, pretty much at peak camera too when it comes to the smartphone camera because of all of the AI. A lot of that stuff is just happening right out the bat as soon as you hit the shutter. It's not much help needed from another third-party app nowadays.
It's funny you should say that because we were talking about that just yesterday on iOS Today as well. We were talking about what other non-default apps do you use on your iPhone, and camera, of course, is one of them. And almost every phone I've ever tried, Samsung, Google, or Apple, the best app is always going to be the one from the manufacturer. It's
the stock.
Because the stock app is most closely tied to the hardware. But we also mentioned there are fun, certainly on the iPhone, there are really interesting and fun third-party apps that you would want as for a change of pace or a different effect. But both Micah and I go right to the stock app, except Micah did mention that was it his mom and his sister, I think, both. We thought this was weird. Both use the Snapchat camera as their default camera on their iPhones.
Oh boy.
What?
Oh boy.
I guess that's just a measure of how all in on the Snapchat they are.
Wow. I do not see a lot of Snapchat users lately.
Well, we're all moving to TikTok, don't you know? And TikTok
you all are
moving.
Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, let's take a break, and we should talk about that. Let me just anything else to wrap up with Samsung? As I said, when it will be September 1, you can order the Fold. It'll be available, I bet, September 15th, because that's when Microsoft's xCloud cloud gaming platform rolls out on the not on iOS, only on Android, and they're going to have a special early partnership with Samsung. I'm going to bet you that's not just the Note Ultra or Note Plus or whatever they're calling it, but it will also be called. Yeah, that will also be on the Fold. Because imagine that 7.6-inch screen gaming on the Microsoft xCloud. So I'm thinking September 15th. I will tomorrow. I can order the watch and the buds. I'll order those. We were going to get all of them. In fact, there's some Google news too because the Pixel 4a came out on Monday, and Jason gets his tomorrow. So we knew this would be a kind of crowded period now. We're going to get a lot of new phones. The 4A looks really good.
Requested a review unit of the smartwatch for Samsung because I'd like to try it out for
It looks pretty good
wellness.
For wellness. Yeah, it looked pretty good. I was a little disappointed after they touted all these heart features to say, well, but none of them will be available on ship. You got to wait till we get approval and all that stuff. But you know what? For COVID, having blood oximeter.
Yeah.
For me, blood pressure, I got to monitor my blood pressure. For others with AFib and ECG, that's one of the ACG is the only one that's on the Apple Watch. That's a really useful thing. It looks like Samsung hit all of the key elements that an Apple Watch gives you. So I can't wait to try it. It also has a round face and a twisty bezel, which I like. So You're gonna see me. I'll be Mystic Bronze for a while.
You're gonna be Mystic Bronze. Are you gonna get a Mystic Bronze shirt and mask?
It's all Mystic Bronze from now on.
I think you should dye your hair Mystic Bronze.
Okay, deal. I'm gonna do it because it is a pretty color.
The shininess is the key to Mystic Bronze. It's not going to work for the hair.
Well,
now if you want to get like Leo's statue paint and like paint your skin and like stand there,
I'm thinking I would love a hair helmet. Shiny bronze hair helmet.
Yeah.
I don't know how they fit you for it though. It doesn't sound too much fun. Yes, we will. I'm sure on All About Android. I'm thinking next Tuesday, Jason will for sure have a 4A review. There are 4A reviews out already. Yep. Very positive. It looks like. In fact, weren't you thinking about that, Jeff?
No. Now I think I'm waiting for a 5.
Wait for the 5.
Thinking about one for Queen Pruitt, actually.
That was so weird that Google announced the 4A and the 5 at the same time.
It's kind of what the hell? One's delayed,
it's
one's
all
coming up.
leaked.
I know what's coming up. So okay, here it is, guys.
But I do like the price. What is it? $340, $340,
$349.
Yeah.
$49 for the 4A. That's the right price.
So by the way,
128 gigs of storage. They're not cheaping out.
Have I bought every imaginable Pixel item you can think of?
Yes.
Have I not been a loyal Pixel customer?
Yes.
Have I not? I got the Pixel Buds twice. I have the Pixel phone. I have the Pixel book. I'm pixeled up. I am Mr. Pixel. I am honorary. I love Pixel.
Yeah, and
Chairman.
And Google didn't invite me into the secret Pixel Club. I'm pissed.
Oh, you don't get the Pixel Club. Who gets?
I want to be in
What's
the
the
Pixel
Pixel
Who do
Club.
you think you are, Marquez Brownlee?
Right.
Who do you think you are?
You're
There's a secret
subscribers
Pixel
short,
Club,
Mr.
and I
Jarvis.
don't have the handshake, the Pixel handshake, and I am pissed.
By the way, all of these Samsung phones have 5G. Maybe 5G is bigger in South Korea than it is here.
it is.
Because they're ahead of us.
This was good because they do at least explain the two different kinds of 5G. The millimeter wave and then the sub-6 wave, which is the only one really that's in widespread use in the U.S. That's T-Mobile's using the 600 megahertz band. Mm-hmm. Millimeter wave is a very limited use in some areas by Verizon in the U.S.
But that's got the super wide channels, which
That's
gives
got
you
the
the
speed.
amazing bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's
if
there's more 5G coming out in July, early July. The 3GPP approved a different form of 5G for industrial. And then next year, 18 months from now, there will be 5G. Let's see, this is 5G NR Lite, New Radio Lite, and that will be a industrial focused one with 100 gigabits per second. So I called it Goldilocks 5G because it'll be in between the super high data rates and the super low NB-IoT data rates.
Don't you love this video though that Samsung did? This is so much clearer than anything the carriers want you to know.
Yes.
The millimeter wave bounces off everything, so it only goes a little ways. So that's the 5G millimeter wave, but it's super fast. Then there's the 5G sub-6, the 600 megahertz that T-Mobile's using. That at least goes through buildings because of its low frequency, but it doesn't go very far, not as far as LTE, which goes even farther. So the point being, your new phone will do all three. And you'll get the good bandwidth if you're in the right spot, the better bandwidth if you're in the right spot, and if you aren't, you'll get the 4G LTE. I thought that was a good explainer.
I have explained this to y'all many times.
Yeah, but I don't understand your talk.
You don't have pretty colored lines.
No. I knew this. I knew it because you explained it. But I just thought I actually commend Samsung.
I didn't even use the word attenuate when I tried to explain it either.
I just commend Samsung because most manufacturers and carriers, when you say 5G, they just do a lot of hand waving and say, don't worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Right. And so it's nice that Samsung at least says, look, there's different technologies. They're not all going to work. They're not all going to be available.
But we got you covered.
She knows this already. She doesn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. I sat in the sun for an hour today. That was my mistake. I'm like, okay, take an ad break so I can get a cup of coffee.
But you got a lot of vitamin D coursing through your veins, protecting
I
you.
learned something interesting about pets and vitamin D. It has no relation to the show. I'm going to stop talking.
I know what you're going to say. It's why they
Does it involve oil and licking their
It's why
fur?
they lick their fur so much.
Yes. Where did we read this, Leo?
I don't know. We must have read the same thing. But of course,
Yes.
because pets have fur, they can't get vitamin D like humans do through sun on the skin. So they secrete an oil with vitamin D, but they got to lick it to get it.
Oh,
Well, yeah, they secrete the oil, then the sun activates the
Oh,
vitamin
the sun
D
makes
in
it,
the oil.
Makes it to vitamin D. So they got a little vitamin D factory on their fur. And then they go.
Isn't that crazy? I love it. And I love, Leo, that we apparently read the same thing.
Same thing, whatever. I love it. We're the queen and king of factoid. Our show today brought to you by those great folks, as you know. You could see the signs all over the place at LastPass. I love LastPass. And I'll tell you what, if you're a business, first of all, you know that people don't do the right thing with passwords. They make them up. I had a guy call the radio show. I have a new scheme for making up my passwords. I'll replace all the zeros with O's and all the ones with L's. And I said, dude, the hackers are way ahead of you. What you need is LastPass, a password manager that generates long, strong, completely random, unmemorable passwords and then stores them securely for you so you don't have to remember them. Everybody should be using LastPass. I started using it more than 12 years ago when they first came out. Steve Gibson did his famous breakdown of LastPass where he explained it all. He talked to their creator, Joe Segrist, got all the deets. That was a Security Now episode now 10 years ago. He's been using it ever since. We started using it in business 5 years ago, and that's really been important for us because not only do individuals do a terrible job with passwords, your employees are doing a terrible job, and they're not just doing it with theirs, they're doing it with your passwords. That's why it's so important you get LastPass Enterprise, especially now that employees are going home. LastPass surveyed global IT decision makers. 96% of organizations said their remote workforce has really taken its toll on identity and access management. They've got to re-strategize. That's why I say LastPass, as always. Of course, secure password storage. Every employee has their own vault. So secure, I actually use it for more than passwords. I keep my passport in there, my driver's license, social security numbers. It's my secure enclave on every device I use, iOS, Android, Mac, Windows, Linux, every browser I use. LastPass does it all. But it never decrypts that data anywhere but on device. And it never transmits my master password back to the home office. Only I have access to that stuff. It's also important because if employees are in different locations, how are they going to share passwords? Are they going to text them to each other? Oh, no, that should give you chills. With LastPass, it's built into the app. They can easily share logins and keep access to corporate data safe. Logins, by the way, it couldn't be easier. Every time you create a new credential, it's automatically saved. It's automatically filled. That's why it's the first thing I put on all my devices because it saves me time setting up the device. All the apps, I just use LastPass, fills it in, logs it in. It's great. For your IT department, you'll have policies and actionable insights into employee password behavior from a beautiful admin dashboard so you'll always know who's doing what where. And you can ensure that they're being extra secure, doing as we do, for instance, turning on two-factor authentication. It's really easy to add and remove users. You can even automate user management with directory integration. Look, no matter where your employees work, they need to keep your stuff safe. They need LastPass. You need LastPass. LastPass's IAM solutions help businesses improve the employee experience and safeguard you and your most precious resources, your data, from cyber threats. Let your remote workforce focus on their work without compromising business security. You got to do what we did some years ago. I'm so glad we did. LastPass.com/twit. It's here. It's ready for the remote workforce and beyond. LastPass.com/twit. Thank you, LastPass. They keep the lights on here, and as you can see, it's quite bright. Jeff has a generator. We have LastPass.
Yeah.
Yep. Although they're both run by gas. Maybe you didn't know that.
You were speaking of gas. You said you no longer have
Stop it.
I'm eager to hear how you did this.
I have a bean-rich diet.
I love beans.
Right? Who doesn't love beans? Besides
Love
my
beans.
wife. She didn't love them. So What I do is I secrete an oil on my fur. No, that's wrong. Actually, there are a number of things I've been trying because I had a bad attack last week. And Lisa said, if you don't solve this problem, you're not living here anymore. So she said that after she said, open all the windows quick. So first I tried soaking, which works, but I think it takes some of the flavor out of the beans. You don't really need to soak beans. But soaking certainly is changing the water over a period of time definitely helps. Sprouting the beans takes out the lectin. That's another good thing. But I found a Mexican herb that they love in Mexico. Maybe you're familiar. I bet Stacy knows it. Epazote, which
yes,
sometimes called Mexican oregano. It's not a strong flavor, but apparently, I didn't know this. One of the reasons it's widely used in Mexican cuisine is it's
See, this is a useful tip
low
for your
compression
viewers.
ratio. Then the other thing, my daughter said, Dad, just chew your food better. I said, oh, that wouldn't work. It does.
It does.
It does. It actually makes a big difference. So chew
That's
your
like
food,
the
use
first
epazote.
rule.
I don't like to soak. I also use kombu, which is a Japanese dried seaweed. That also supposedly helps. And the other thing is I think my gut biome has just gotten used to it now. Because I love beans. I'm eating beans every day now.
Love them. I am too.
Yep.
Love them.
Rancho Gordo, which is the best place to get
fancy beans.
Fancy beans. It's just over the hill here in Napa. Their club is still all booked up, but I got on the waiting list. But I did order some beans from there because they're good beans. They have like a lot of heirloom old beans.
There's a bean club?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Rancho Gordo.
Rancho
Oh my
Gordo
gosh.
You can't get it's so
Club?
It
exclusive.
is super bougie, man.
You
It is
can't
the
get in it.
bougiest.
There was an article in the New Yorker about Rancho Gordo 2 years ago. That's actually what made it impossible to get into the club. But
Get
what's cool is
super
this guy
bougie.
goes down to Mexico and convinces the farmers not to plant the industrialized beans that Big Ag has been talking them into, but to go back and plant the beans their fathers and grandfathers before them grew. And so they have such exotic and weird and interesting beans. And they're delicious.
Man, everything is sold out.
Yeah, they're very popular. But I did order a bunch of beans. I think I ordered the cranberry bean and the ayocote morado. It's a runner, so it's very big and starchy. But, yeah, I don't know why I like beans, but I do. Lisa, you know why? Lisa hates them.
I respect that. I like beans too.
Yeah, beans are good.
You don't like them, Ant?
No, he loves
You're not
beans.
a bean guy?
He does.
Oh.
How do you feel about avocados?
No,
No.
What? You don't like avocados?
they're okay.
You should move up here. Avocados are so expensive. It is
Yeah.
like having a drug habit.
Yeah.
Just slice it and maybe put it on a sandwich with some good meat.
There's
but
nothing better than avocado
I just don't want it by
toast.
itself.
Oh,
you
I
know?
love avocado
No,
toast.
you
When my
stick,
wife
I mean,
wants to...
I would.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to give you my no-fail super lazy avocado recipe, which
I'll take
is from
it,
when I was a kid.
I'll take it.
Ritz crackers.
Yeah.
You slice up your avocado into
Yeah.
like tiny little, like, normal size slivers. A lot of lemon juice, a lot of salt, a lot of pepper. Pop them on your Ritz cracker, and boom! I used to eat that for dinner all the
That
time.
is so good. And it's good for you. Except for the
Yeah.
Ritz
My
cracker.
wife is feeling generous. She makes her favorite sandwich and mine,
Yeah.
or leaves the makings for me. Just sourdough bread,
Yeah.
crisp bacon,
Yeah.
nice tomatoes, avocado,
Ooh,
little mayo, pepper. It's wonderful.
that's a
Wonderful.
ALT.
Yeah.
Yum.
You can put a little lettuce on there. I made this great salad
No.
the other day.
No.
Ooh. No. You have farro.
Love
you have
farro.
chickpeas.
Is farro wheat?
You make this.
It's a wheat.
It is
right?
wheat.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then you make this marinade with like it's basically like Caesar dressing, I think. No, it's like Greek dressing with lots of oregano and dill and feta. You marinate the beans and the feta and all that in there, and then you chop up radishes, like snow peas, some romaine, an avocado, and you dump that whole mix on and you shake it all around, and then you are eating, and it is so good and it is so filling. It's not a bad
You're
salad.
making me so hungry. All I had for lunch was beans. Speaking of Google,
Oh, very good. Very
Right.
good.
This weekend, not at all Google.
no,
Hey, can we talk about
No, we've
Google
been
ADT?
Google
talking about
ANT?
Pixel.
That's you had a really good report,
ADT.
Stacy. and explained it to me. It was very good.
Oh, yeah. So ADT, which is a very well-known security company, is doing a deal with Google. It obviously Wall Street liked it. Their stock went up 600%.
65%.
I'm sorry, 65%. Hey, that's a big jump.
Close.
Still a big jump.
It was 100% the day of, right?
Yeah, it was a huge jump because Google's putting in $450 million in exchange for a new class of common stock. They can't vote on the election, appointment, or removal of directors, but everything else. So what does it mean, Stacey? It's not Google buying ADT. It's buying into ADT.
No. It's basically buying. I look at it as buying the ADT installers, giving Google an install base. It's also buying.
Smart. You're right.
Yeah, it's buying a way to get into the home that isn't like selling through, their typical Google store and the retail channels. And they have tried with Nest. They have had partnerships. They actually had individual partnerships, and then they switched to one big company nationwide to install Nest thermostats. But really, this is like, hey, if we're going to get it in on the smart home, it is freaking hard to put all this stuff together to make it work. ADT. And for ADT, they have had
They modernize.
consumer.
It
helps them modernize. Yeah. ADT actually has a deal with Amazon, but ADT gets money. They get the cachet of rubbing up with Google, and it helps them get in on the smart home without cannibalizing their core business. And I assume, hopefully, if they did this well, they'll have, access to some data that could help them, get with the today's world. So I think that's, for those two companies, what's compelling.
Yeah.
I also think it signals a whole new shift in the smart home. But do you want to interrupt me, and then I'll talk about that afterwards?
Well,
I don't know if y'all
I think one of the challenges to ADT was companies like Simply Safe, our sponsor, were starting to eat their lunch because ADT didn't speak to younger people. It was from people my age who wanted home security. Younger people, they're moving around more. They didn't like the idea of an installer. They're a little more tech savvy. They want a smarter home. And so other companies were coming along, and ADT was starting to look a little long in the tooth. But I didn't think about that. Yeah, I think you nailed it. The partnership, and this is from the Google blog post, the partnership pairs more than 20,000 ADT professionals. Those are the installers and the consultants who come into your home with Nest's portfolio of home devices. They just added a 20,000-person sales force to Nest.
But you made a point about, Stacey, in terms of the pricing in your post, the pricing of the ADT hardware versus the Nest hardware. Talk about that for a second. How is the staff motivated?
Well, so that I don't know exactly how, because I'm not privy to the inside details of this, but ADT's pricing, their model is you get all the hardware up front and then you pay it out over the life of the contract, right? Google actually sells their gear is pretty expensive. So I don't think it's going to derail the commissions of too many of the ADT people, which is really good because otherwise they wouldn't want to sell it. So I think that's the point I made. Was that the point I made?
Well, yeah, there's two questions there. So one is that the Google stuff is expensive enough that they'll be motivated to sell it. Then the second question is, will they do this lend-lease model with Google hardware too, you think? Or buy the Google?
I don't know. That is a way to get more people to buy the Google stuff. And I kind of doubt it, because you do that with a contract, and that's something to look for. And if you notice, so far, they told Reuters that they were only going to do the Wi-Fi, the thermostat, and one other device. I can't recall at the moment.
So it doesn't compete with their existing portfolio. It broadens it. ADT's.
It does broaden it. Eventually, it will compete. Now, ADT is the monitoring service behind.
That's the real money.
Well, that's the monitoring service behind Amazon's Echo Guard.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's an option for you if you turn on Echo Guard or Madame A's Guard service.
That's not cheap. I think it's $45 a month the last time I checked. So I think that's where ADT probably makes most of its money, right?
Yeah, their monitoring service is expensive. And they used to have two versions of it. They had like a cheaper version for people like me, and then they had the old people version for people like you.
Hey.
I'm just telling. I mean, that's the market. So,
wow.
Yeah.
She's cold, isn't she? She's just.
She says it.
Oh
with a
no,
straight
no,
face.
that's
cold.
it's just true.
She's so cold.
Google posts its first loss, really Alphabet. Its first
Cold heart of youth.
first loss in history. Search revenue dropping for the first time ever in its quarterly results. We continue to navigate through a difficult global environment, says Ruth Porat. Wow. Total revenue for the quarter. Yeah, it's temporary. It's COVID, right? $38.3 billion. Actually, I'm not going to say it's COVID. It could very well not be COVID, but a longer term trend with people moving to Facebook and other places. Facebook ads have to be pretty competitive with Google ads, don't you think? Revenue for the quarter was a little more than expected, but a 2% decline from Q2 2019. Net income profit dropped from $9.9 billion dollars a year ago to $6.9. Search revenue down from $23 to $21 billion. So tough times. Now, YouTube did a lot better. As you'd expect, advertising revenue on YouTube was up about $200 million. Google Cloud also up about 50%. From 2.1 to 3.01 billion. So there are some bright spots in Google. Sundar Pichai.
I was going to ask the YouTube angle, and it makes sense that it's up.
Oh, sure.
Considering these times.
Oh, well, see, this is the thing, because I'd heard also YouTube ad revenue was down for a lot of creators, right? You're getting more viewers, but advertisers aren't buying. This is the problem we had early in COVID as well.
Well, this is why maybe go to this one. The TikTok announcements of 300 million for European creators, 200 million for U.S. creators is really interesting to me.
That's a special fund that they're going to put together. Yeah. Before we get to TikTok, because that's going to generate a little bit of conversation, I'm guessing. I
jumped the gun.
Other bets, which includes XLab, Waymo, Verily, revenue $148 million, down from $162 million year over year. Operating loss of $1.12 billion. Yikes. Play Store non-advertising YouTube revenues up from $4 to $5.12 billion. And Sundar Pichai said YouTube and Google Play subscriptions saw good traction in the quarter, with app and game downloads rising 35%. That kind of mirrors Apple's big increase as well due to quarantine.
So where were they most sensitive? Was it just
Search.
Google advertising?
Yeah.
Search
advertising.
Yeah.
But we knew that was going to happen. I mean, not just for COVID, but we knew that search was always, that's what Google's been trying to do, is come up with stuff that helps with search, because search is going to naturally decrease as a lot of things change about our world.
The real concern is it a trend, or is it just COVID?
No, we're going to be searching more on things like our Echo devices.
I agree.
So
they've seen this coming for years.
Yeah.
By the way, the acquisition of Fitbit is a little bit stalled. Europe is saying, hold on there, Google. What are you going to do with all that good data?
Google's like, we won't use it for advertising because that's what we say to everything. And that was yesterday's concern.
Yeah. EU has opened an in-depth investigation to assess the proposed acquisition of Fitbit by Google under the EU merger regulation. That could stymie the whole deal. This seems like they announced this deal a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was last year. But it also is, every time anyone writes about it, they write about it like it's a fait accompli.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And I don't understand why.
You had a fit about that last week, yes.
Yeah. It's not done.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Nothing's
I had
happened.
a fit about it. I love it.
Well, I think it's not unusual. We read about the deals and we go, oh, they bought Fitbit. And that's how we say it. They bought Fitbit. But it hasn't closed and won't close for a long time. So they didn't get it yet.
You clearly have not had an editor at a business publication who is like, this is an announced deal, not an actual acquisition yet.
So what should I say? What's the headline?
Google to buy. You always have to have to buy Fitbit for X amount.
Okay.
And then eventually you have to come through when it's done and say the deal is now done.
Got it. So I'll say that from now on.
Yeah, I used to get confused with announced versus launched when I was writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally think you should never use the phrase announced because it's very rare that real people announce things, right? So I always I'm like, can we say here?
Say.
Yes.
You'd be such a good editor to work for.
I think I would be a little cranky. I've edited people.
Yeah.
That's why you'd be
I've had
good.
these conversations.
That's why you'd be good.
Hey, did you use Google Plus?
I did.
According to USA Today, you may be owed some money from a class action privacy settlement.
Told you it would pay to use Google Plus.
$7.5 million settlement. I don't even think you're going to get the $5 to $12 the USA Today is figuring.
It's not going to be worth doing whatever they're going to make you do.
The truth is, if I wanted to get money, I wouldn't be telling everybody listening to go to Google Plus datalitigation.com and filling out the forum there so you get your money, honey. But we've all been through these class action suits. The only people who make money are the lawyers.
That's right. That's another thing the hardhead came running down the stairs to announce to me.
I'm rich.
I just said announce. Oh.
See? Hardhead announced.
He comes down and he's like, hey, what is this about class action lawsuit? What do I need to do to get money? I'm like, what are you talking about?
You need to relax.
And I asked him if he knew what Google Plus was, and he said no. So I'm like, so sit down. just sit down. Teenagers, man.
I'm rich, Daddy. I'm rich.
Teenagers.
Wow, not Corey Lewandowski. I always call him Corey.
I know. I
Anthony.
was thinking the same thing.
How many Lewandowskis are there in the world? So Anthony might get a cell next to Corey. He's getting 18 months in prison for stealing Google's self-driving car files. Who knew industrial espionage was such a big crime? A U.S. judge yesterday sentenced Anthony Lewandowski to prison. Remember, he was at Google doing in their self-driving unit, left, joined Uber's, actually was Otto at the time, right? The truck unit, and Uber eventually acquired them. Uber sued, I think it was 20,000 documents. I can't remember, but I remember it was a lot of stuff. And the very famous Judge William Alsup, you may remember from the Microsoft DOJ case, has sentenced him to 1.5 years in prison. Prosecutors want a little bit more time. Yeah, absolutely. He was.
This was part of this whole Uber cadre of let's not be ethical about anything,
right.
And I'm kind of like, honestly, although I will say compared to the Twitter sentence for this poor person, I'm kind of like, those are very different. So we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, there's not sentencing yet for the Twitter.
Remember, he
yet.
was fined a huge amount, $179 million.
Yeah, and he couldn't pay it.
Filed for
Uber.
bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And the bankruptcy judge is ruling. Google asked him to reject Uber's argument that it's not responsible for the money. Lewandowski now runs a self-driving truck company called Pronto. He apologized to Google, said he plans to share his story of regret with others in the tech industry. Boy, does he regret it. Man. He won't have to go to prison till after COVID-19. It's too dangerous. So he will.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, they don't want you to go in there. All right, are you ready?
For what?
It's time to TikTok.
Just kill me now.
Mute.
I have been thinking long and hard about this whole story. I am now of the strong opinion that there is nothing wrong with TikTok. It is, I think, one of the most creative, interesting social networks out there. People are using it very cleverly, very interestingly. God bless them.
Is this real?
Yes,
what is
I'm not
happening?
in the least bit concerned about China spying on anybody's TikToks. In fact, I looked at the iPhone permissions. Unless you grant it permissions to use the microphone and camera, TikTok has no permissions, including location. Now, of course, because you're on a cell network, TikTok could see what cell network you're on. So as anybody on a smartphone can see that much. How much use that kind of location, that kind of, not granular location information is of use to the Chinese government? I don't know. I don't actually think it's a security concern at all. I think the president is mad at TikTok, A, because he's mad at China in general, and B,
which is a distraction from Russia, but keep going.
Exactly. There's all sorts of reasons why he might be calling it the China virus and all that stuff. B, I think he's still pissed off at TikTok because a bunch of TikTok users and, by the way, K-pop stans managed to undermine his Tulsa rally by all signing up for tickets and not showing up. And I honestly think he's a little butthurt. And so as a result, TikTok, the president has been saying, in fact, the whole administration, Mike Pompeo, Peter Navarro, have all been saying, we're going to ban TikTok, despite pretty strong questions about whether they could even do that. CFIUS probably could, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. But CFIUS is not saying anything yet. They're just investigating.
Wasn't Musical.ly a U.S. company?
Yes. So they could.
And they were bought by ByteDance.
That's what CFIUS could intervene in, basically.
Okay.
That's what they're there for, Committee for Foreign Investment in the United States. ByteDance has been at great pains to create a U.S. CEO puppet, according to President Trump. They say we're going to hire 10,000 U.S. people. The data for U.S. users is stored in the U.S. and Singapore, not in China. And it's not, what is the data anyway? Now, there's lots of other things to say about TikTok. For a while, their algorithms seem to ban fat people. There's cultural appropriation going on. There was actually a really good piece by a black creator on TikTok saying TikTok seems to be banning black creators, but they also promote the white creators' use of black music and black culture. And so that's a little bit, that's sketch. You can't mention the Uyghurs on TikTok. You can't talk about Hong Kong on TikTok. So I'm not saying TikTok's perfect, but I also don't think it's a massive security threat to the United States. On Friday, the president said, we're going to ban TikTok as soon as Saturday. Didn't do it. And much to the chagrin of Microsoft, nobody gets to buy it. Apparently Microsoft, we found out then, had been negotiating with TikTok to buy the U.S., Australian, and New Zealand assets to create a TikTok US. Not sure why Microsoft wanted to take that on, but maybe they thought it was a good deal. Some say it's the next YouTube. So maybe Microsoft said, hey, we missed out on YouTube. Here's our chance. Minecraft does pretty well for us. A great way to get the youngs in the Microsoft fold early on.
That's what I was like, TikTok is like Minecraft for them.
Yeah. Then
Cortana works so well for them. They always when they copy something, it works really well for them.
Well, Minecraft has done, they haven't touched Minecraft. They've done, I presume they do the same thing with TikTok, which is hands off. Yeah. Just give them money and keep it going because we like that.
Leave it alone and collect the
So when the president said we're not going to let anybody buy it, Satya Nadella said, whoa, okay, well, we're going to hold off on those negotiations we've been working on. Then the next day, Nadella and Trump have a conversation. And it's back on, boys. But the Donald says, I want a cut.
I was going to say, there's a cat.
It's just unbelievable.
This is so, just idiotic. My husband, who is a actual Republican, not a Trump Republican, but is fiscally very conservative, very business minded.
Right.
Many things that Donald Trump does drive him absolutely bonkers. But he also kind of is he's not as upset as I am about it. In the sense, he doesn't take it to heart and feel like our country is being betrayed. Whereas this, he was like, expletive.
It's like Tony Soprano saying, "Yeah, I want to cut." Yeah. Now it goes to the Treasury Department. It's not like going into Donald's pocket, but nevertheless,
he thinks he gets credit for it.
No. This guy thinks he's the deal maker in chief. He doesn't want to do his real job. He just wants to have this weird fake That's not even his role. It's like he didn't understand what a president actually does.
By saying that now, I think, it's my opinion, we talked about this on Windows Weekly, that this has tarnished the deal greatly for Microsoft. As much as they'd like to have TikTok, now it looks like it was some strong-arm operation on the part of the United States to get China, a Chinese company, to give Microsoft the company and give a chunk of change to the Treasury Department. It looks like highway robbery. It looks like mafioso behavior. And if I were Microsoft at this point, I would say, yeah, no, we don't. Because that's going to, it's going to make a big enemy of the Chinese government. Probably not what Microsoft would like to do.
And media there are now saying this is all a trick to steal TikTok from them.
It is.
And so the Chinese government is against it.
Yeah,
yes, they're right.
They're right. It's appalling.
He ruins everything he touches.
Yeah. I don't know if it's impeachable. It just seems bad. Bad. And I do feel bad for Microsoft, which I think thought that they were going to be, a hero in all this, helping keep TikTok alive, making it an American company. Now they look like they're just part of the kleptocracy. So my prediction is that we will hear an announcement soon from Microsoft in the next few days where they say, never mind, this has turned sour. And
all they were going to get was English language markets, right? They weren't going to get the core business.
I also think,
which is probably fine in their perspective too. Just you guys do your thing,
I honestly also think the president is not going to ban TikTok. This is just more saber rattling from the saber rattler in chief.
Grandstanding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now that Jeff Jarvis is on TikTok,
I've never been to TikTok because I'm too damned old, but I'm too pissed right now to be silent. Whether or not TikTok exists here or in China or anywhere is none of Donald Trump's damn business. Whether or not Microsoft buys it and Clippy makes TikToks is none of Trump's business. He's trying to cut off a tool of public speech. He's violating the First Amendment. So Donald Trump, get off our TikTok yard.
All right now. All right.
Oh my goodness.
I've never been to TikTok.
Well done, JJ.
Wow.
Well, damn. He's wearing a T-shirt that says, "Dude, gotta go." I like it. That's really good.
Kamala Harris T-shirt.
That's
all
good.
Right, Mr. Jarvis, for you.
It is kind of, there you go, fist bump. It is staggering, really, what has happened here. And I think nobody's coming out of this looking good. And I agree that TikTok, there are some issues for sure with TikTok, but I also think it's an amazing medium, and a lot of creative stuff's going on TikTok that's really fantastic.
What amazes me most too is how it's collaborative.
Yeah, the way you so now somebody could
play off of each other.
Could take what Jeff said and do a lip sync with it, or they could make music with it, or they could set it. There's some. I just think it's really great.
I've seen some creative stuff on there, and I appreciate the creativity. I just don't think it's an app for me. I'm a fuddy-duddy, I guess.
You're an old fart like me.
Yeah, I am.
But Stacy's young enough to make TikTok.
I'm oldish. Sorry, oldish.
Aunt and I are the same age. Actually, Aunt, you might be younger than I am.
I think I am.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think Ant's actually. He is in the prime of his life. That is all we will say.
Yes.
There you go.
So,
have any of you made TikToks?
Oh yeah, I have a TikTok account, but we also have a TikTok. What is it called?
I watch TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is. I've seen a couple clips of me on the TikTok account.
And I'm actually very. I took it off because really, my only complaint is it's too damn. It's addictive. It's such a rabbit hole. You start watching them, it's hard to stop.
For me, it was noisy. I kept getting a bunch of notifications for things I did not care about. I think it was trying to figure me out from the platform perspective. Like, what exactly does this guy like? So it just kept sending me notifications, and I'm like, I don't care about that. And I think I followed maybe 3 people.
I finally turned all the notifications off.
Do your kids use TikTok?
They started it, but they don't anymore. Yeah. They're still stuck on the Snapchat side of things.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think TikTok's
They're
any
old
more
farts.
harmful than
They're old
Snapchat or
farts.
Instagram. I think that this is, I don't know. I have problems even with the Huawei thing. You could perhaps make the case that you shouldn't let them power national infrastructure like the 5G network. Okay, fine. But they should be allowed to sell phones in the United States, for crying out loud. So it's a shame. I just think it's a shame. It does not reflect well on Microsoft. That's why I think if they can think of a way out, there is a face-saving move that they could make probably.
Which is?
If Microsoft, which is of course a big cloud company, said, "Look, we'll take a small stake in TikTok. In return, we will host all the TikTok data for American users in our Microsoft servers, and we won't give access to the Chinese. They can't ask for it. That's ours."
Okay.
And then the president could come out saying, "Look, see, I made a deal, and well, this is good." Microsoft would get out of this kind of untenable position they're in, looking like they're extorting a Chinese company, and the Chinese would get to continue to own it. I think that would be a sensible plan. I just can't imagine. First of all, I don't know what legal basis he'd have for banning it.
He doesn't.
He just assumes he does.
He doesn't, but he doesn't need a legal basis for anything. I mean, this man tweets random stuff about delaying the election. This is not a man who's concerned about legal basis.
He's not worried about that.
Thinks he's an emperor.
Yeah. So, but what he would do is he would issue an executive order. It would have some effect. Chiefly, the courthouse would get very busy, and then we just sit there in limbo for ages and ages. It would not be good. It'd not be good. Well,
we'd sit in limbo, but we'd also, it's not like there'd be a...
nothing would happen. Right?
What is the word when they stop? Why can't I think of this?
An injunction?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, an injunction.
It's not going to be an injunction. So the other thing that I think TikTok, that is beneficial to all this, is TikTok now is bending over backwards to be a good citizen. In fact, one of the things they said, which I thought was really good, is they will publish our algorithm.
Wow.
And we call on, and I honestly think algorithm is one of the biggest problems we face right now with Facebook, YouTube, all of these. If we call on Facebook and YouTube to do the same, publish the algorithm. Let us see what the recommendation engine does to highlight that.
What does it mean to publish? Nobody's going to understand what the algorithm says. It depends on the data. It depends on lots of things.
Matt Cutts was on Twit on Sunday. He is still administrator of the United States Digital Service. Awesome guy. Early Googler. Knows a lot about algorithm. He knows how the Google search algorithm works. He said, it's a trivial algorithm. He said, compared to the Google algorithm, what TikTok's doing is very, very simple. You look at which videos get the most engagement, then you push those.
Push them up.
It's pretty straightforward. So they're not giving away.
There's no topicality or anything the way there is on Facebook and Google.
I don't think so. And I think that's actually one of the charming things about TikTok. It's just, this is all they had to do. Make an app that was fun to use, that had the tools that people who would make videos wanted. So make it accessible, desirable, because they need to get people to create millions of videos, and then have an algorithm that surfaces the ones that people like. Step 3, profit.
That's right.
I just wish those algorithms were tailored more towards me, but then again, it's probably not tailored towards me because I'm not feeding it.
That's right. You could, if you started participating more, I think you'd. It's interesting, the range of stuff. There's a lot of stuff like Jeff just did that's political.
Yeah. There's
a lot of very funny stuff. Sarah Cooper, we've showed her.
Well, Sarah Cooper is just the genius of it.
Yeah.
She should get about half that $200 million they're putting in the U.S.
Have you seen the guy who does the? My name is Dr. Fauci.
Yeah. Did we do that one?
Have we played that on here?
Yeah, we played that on here. Yeah.
So that guy is great. He does a lot of, he's kind of like the Randy Rainbow of TikTok. He does a lot of great parody songs and songs. I just think there's funny stuff. And I think it's a perfect time for quarantine where people are making the stuff in their home.
Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's a joy to see what people are coming up with right now, and to try to get away from what's really happening outside. And It's really refreshing. Yep. Some of it is pretty funny. Some of it is I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing the lip syncing of a song that they like.
What's most always interesting to me, and I know it is to you guys too, is how you think of, like, Twitter is a perfect example. It's going to be text messaging. You think of it, you create it, you put it out there, and then you let people do it, and it changes. And now it's something completely different that was created by its users. I think that's one of the best things that happens in tech. For instance, big story on Axios this week, Instagram. I had no idea. There are a lot of companies posting long text pieces on Instagram.
That's not new.
ProPublica does it. No, it's not news, but it's growing. Their headline is Instagram morphs into an information powerhouse. I think that's interesting because it means Instagram is now a source of news for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Right?
I've always sort of tinkered around on my Instagram account, ant_Pruitt, just in case you're interested, just to see what engages people. And a couple things always come to mind. People love selfies. As much as I hate selfies, people love selfies. There's always engagement there. And I would write captions based on the images or just something that was on my mind. And I start to wonder, are people even reading this stuff? So every now and then in those captions, I would say something totally off the cuff just to see if people were reading it. And holy crap, people read those things regardless of how long those captions are.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell a quick old fart story?
Yeah, quick old fart story.
So when I was at Claremont, what was then Claremont Men's College, my first year in college, and there was Professor Rood, who was an odd political science professor, and he loved long papers. So the longer the paper, the higher the grade. But he never graded them until the end of the term, and people never handed them in at the end of the term. So he would be at the last day of the term with a huge stack of papers, and they would always come back with a grade and no comment. And the rumor was he just weighed them. But one time in a 60-page paper in the middle of nowhere, somebody just put parenthesis, Rood sucks, and parenthesis. And the only comment on the paper was source. People read and surprise you.
That's funny. Yeah. Here's an account called Slacktivists. The Slacktivists on Instagram. There's no pictures at all. It's news stories. It's text news stories.
Yeah.
Lots of hashtags.
I mean, people... Yeah, I mean, think about it. When you're on your phone, you go into an app, you want to spend the time in that app. You don't want to be like, if you're waiting somewhere, you're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to open this and I'm going to look at this, this, and this, but you're all in the same place. So you want to get everything you can in that place. It makes sense to optimize for that.
Mm-hmm. Educators for Justice, Diversify Your Narrative, Generous, ProPublica's doing it. It's really interesting. So, the bottom line is I like seeing what creators do with the platform once they get, full access to it, and I think that's what's happening on TikTok.
We're at the very beginning of a process, of figuring out what they can do with the internet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We forget.
Guess what? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to raise Gutenberg.
Moral panic. Gutenberg.
No, Gutenberg. Choice. This is a
Hold on, I was texting. I had to think.
So. It took I've said this before on the show, it took 150 years before anyone invented the regularly published newspaper, but I realized it took the same amount of time to invent essays and the modern novel.
Right.
I think you talked about this, yeah.
You did.
And novels were terrible. That was a problem. Okay, I'm sorry, my texting is going crazy.
Somebody's telling you something that you must know.
There's a new chip
Secrets.
Breaking news.
They're secrets, y'all.
Millimeter waves.
Hey, let's play that drum thing so we can do a changelog here before we wrap it up.
The Google Changelog.
This one comes from Karsten's son, Zach, who's very concerned because he says it's going to be a problem for foreign language creators. YouTube is ending its community captions feature. Deaf creators aren't happy about it either. Bad. That is bad. The captions.
Is it going to turn to its automatic one?
Yeah, I guess so. The automatic captions are less than desirable. Too bad.
Well, Google's gotten better at that, but
it's not as bad as people would assume.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better. It used to be awful.
Was community captioning a place for people to sneak in bad things?
Maybe it was a spam thing. YouTube says it just wasn't widely used. Zach says he has made friends around the globe through his live streaming channel. He won't be able to watch his friend's YouTube channel. It's in Finnish. And it was the community captioning that made it accessible to him.
Does he speak Finnish?
No, that's the point.
Oh,
Right.
I see.
He wants that captioning.
But they're going to replace it with their automated captioning?
They say
They can't just take away, like,
and had problems with spam and abuse. It will focus on other creator tools. They're literally just taking the captions off. You could still use your own captions, automatic captions, and third-party tools and services.
There you go. So you still have options.
Yeah, but the community captioning, that was nice. But it's hard. You got to police it, right? And that's probably expensive, and Google didn't want to do it. They've turned on Nearby Share. Yay! This is a copy of Apple's AirDrop capability. Samsung talked about it today on their event. They mentioned UWB Ultra Wideband, which is the chip that Apple puts in its iPhone so that you can point at somebody and share content. If you have a Pixel phone, you'll get it, I think, now. Android 6 Plus is required. Samsung says they're going to have it. It's kind of interesting because it uses Bluetooth, and then it will choose the faster Wi-Fi or WebRTC if it's available. So it can do the handshake and then choose a faster way to stream for high quality data. You'll find it in your settings. Turn on device visibility. And soon it'll work with Chromebooks. So you'll be able to share. I use AirDrop all the time. It's one reason to be in the Apple ecosystem. It's very easy to send a picture from your phone to your computer or to another person, to an iPad. It's a really nice feature. I'm glad that they are adding this. Select Google Pixel and Samsung devices will be the first to receive
pretty
Nearby
good.
Share. Have you
That'll
used
help
it?
you with things like when you take a picture of everybody, and actually it won't because it's
you
not
can share it.
multi-phone. Never mind.
Well, but yeah, you can one by one share it. I've done that. Actually, it was used. Did you know this? It was used on the Crew Dragon. Yeah. When Doug and Bob were coming home, they got home on Sunday, right? Safe and sound.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Amen.
Really exciting to see the space program ramping up. But I think it was Doug's. No, it was Bob's. They use iPads for their manuals and some information and stuff. Doug's was like not getting any signal. They didn't have any information. So they quickly had, or Bob's wasn't, so they quickly had Doug take screenshots on his iPad and AirDrop it over to Bob's iPad so that he'd have all the information he needed for reentry. AirDrop.
That's good stuff.
Yep. That wasn't really a Google thing. Sorry.
When you're trying to come back to Earth, AirDrop may not be the best name to use. But other than that, yeah, it's cool.
Different terminology, please. Thank you.
Google Music shutdown has begun. Your music will be deleted in December. If you're a Google Play Music user, when you go there, look for the announcement, the import button. I finally got it. You'll want to do that soon. By late August, you'll no longer be able to upload or download music through Music Manager. By September, the streaming will shut down in New Zealand and South Africa. In October, global streaming will shut down. The Google Music app and website will cease to be. And in December, all that music you uploaded to Google Music will be gone. So make sure you transfer it. If you don't see the announcement, you can go to music.youtube.com/transfer. And you can see I've done it. My transfer is complete.
Yep, I did it.
Which means all of my uploads are there now, which is nice. I'm not sure I love the change from Google Play Music to YouTube Music, but that's the way it is.
Nope. Didn't go with it. We went to Spotify here at this house.
Oh, really?
I think Spotify's the winner. Yeah. Yeah, I really do.
I do appreciate Google being, pretty proactive with the communication, because I've seen a gazillion messages or notifications or emails about that service being shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good.
I've only seen one. I saw
however-
it today, and I was like, But then I don't think I have anything in there, so I'm not really worried.
Say bye, Google Play Music.
I'm loyal to Google. I live La Vida Google, and even so, they don't invite me into the Pixel Club.
Oh my goodness,
Keeps
Jeff, you've been at
lobbying.
Davos. Come on, relax.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a TikTok about being pissed about not being in the Google Pixel Club.
Google Camera 7.5 prepares new features you'll be interested in this. Motion blur and look, audio zooming. That's an interesting.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. That's really cool. Kill. So this is from one of those APK breakdowns, so it's not out yet, but it will be coming soon to a camera near you. Google's live captioning feature, we've talked about that before, and I really love that. You could, if you turn it on and you watch a YouTube video, Zach, it will capture it.
Does this solve Zach's problem?
I don't know if it translates, but it will capture it. Maybe it captures the text, and I guess you could then run it through Translator. Maybe there'd be a way to do it manually. But now it's going to work.
What does Zach like to watch in Finland?
Some guy.
Some gaming thing, you said?
Karsten.
Oh, it's a gaming thing. Okay.
Karsten will tell us. It's not in Finnish. Where was I? Oh, now it's going to be able to do your calls. So not only will it record the call, it'll caption it, and you can save the text. So that's really cool. Here's a Dieter Bohn making a phone call.
So Google just announced the Pixel 4a. It's a $350 phone that's getting released on August 20th. It has Google's amazing camera and also Google's other amazing software. One of the new features they've put in it is captioning for calls. So I'm going to try and show this to you, but it might cause some feedback. It's tricky. So I'm going to call my iPhone from my Pixel phone. I'm going to answer the call on my iPhone. Sorry, I just don't want to show you.
He has to get those boxes out of there. He's not going to do well.
Dieter.
So,
jeez.
Calling the iPhone, it's on speaker. If you tap caption call here.
Hi, the person you're about to speak with has call captions turned on.
Oh, that's interesting.
They'll see captions of what you say to help them listen along.
Great for deaf users.
So now what happens when the person speaks to you on the other end, it gets closed captioned here on your phone in real time. So you can call somebody and they can just speak to you without having to use an intermediary system, and you're able to see what they are saying.
Accessibility feature. Isn't that great? I think this live captioning is just the reason to use a Pixel, to be honest. It's fantastic. Google Pay is going to launch bank accounts in 2021. We'd heard rumors for a long time. 8 banks in the U.S., BBVA and BMO, among others, have announced they're going to partner with Google to offer digital-first bank accounts directly in the Google Pay app. This is
what does that mean, a digital-first bank account? Just means
there's no branch, baby. It's all on your phone there.
They're going to go away anyway.
Well, is it all on your phone, or is it also? I mean, I've had an internet-only bank for a decade.
Yeah, but now it's in Google Pay.
Oh.
Citi's going to do it. Stanford Federal Credit Union, Bank Mobile, Coastal Community Bank, First Independence Bank. Yeah, I've had an internet-only bank for a long time, too. It's great. You can go to any ATM. They pay the ATM fees for me. I'm with the USAA because they don't have ATMs. And I deposit checks. I've been depositing checks for years now just by taking a picture of it on the phone. I love all of those features. But
what's
now
the
it's
largest check you could do that with?
$100,000.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you get a lot of those, I know. But
oh, man, I'm doing that every day. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I can't wait till I get that big check from TikTok and Microsoft. That's going to be awesome. Gboard.
Too bad you'll have to give a bunch of it to the Treasury.
To Mnuchin. That's all right. Stevie's a good friend. He'll kick me back a little under the table. Gboard's getting stickers, smart replies, and a YIF search. Oh, and podcasts. What? It will suggest podcasts. Okay, smart reply. I love it. Thank you, Gboard. Gboard's good. It's the default keyboard on the Pixel, but you can always install it on other Android phones. If you are a Stadia Pro subscriber, you have my deepest sympathies, but there's a little reward for free games this month. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. The games are Kona, Strange Brigade Pro, and Metro 2033 Redux. And then some sort of music thing called Just Shapes and Beats. You get what you pay for.
That sounds like something my daughter would like.
Yeah, just Shapes and Beats. That's it. I think when xCloud comes out, Google's going to go, oh, never mind. Lots of Chrome upgrades. I'll leave it to you to figure out what they are. And, oh, hey, did you hear this? Google is running a special Superfans program for Pixel owners with exclusive perks and events in the U.S. The first rule of Pixel Superfans is you don't talk about it, Jeff. They're recruiting loyal customers. Admission grants access.
Well, they missed some.
If you've been selected, you'd receive an email invitation leading to a sign-up form. I should probably check my email.
I was sitting there thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, dang, did I get something?
I did check my email. It's not there. I'm so pissed.
Aw. If I had it, I'd give it to you.
I'm sure you're not allowed to.
Superfans. What do I just search for Superfans? Let me just search, just in case. Wouldn't it be
I'm
funny
just gonna search for
if I
Pixel.
got
That would be funny if you had it.
I
Yeah.
didn't get it. No, I didn't. Nope. Google Files has added, and it's not, I looked on mine, it's not there yet, but you will get it soon, a new Safe folder.
This is good.
I think this is a great idea. So Google Files, their little files manager. The nice thing about Safe Folder is if you share your phone, you let others access it, and that's the focus they're doing because people are doing homeschooling and maybe juniors using your phone. You can have a Safe Folder. This is another nice school feature, the Family Bell that will ring in because when you go to school, there's a bell that says "Go to class," right?
Yep.
That'll ring in your house. When it's time to start an online class, take a break, settling for reading time, have a snack,
Recess.
or even bedtime. So all I have to do is you say, hey, you know who, create a family bell. It includes suggested bells, or you could add some of your own.
So it goes off on everybody's phone at the same time?
Yeah, well, you can have different bells go off at the same time on different devices.
Right.
So you can get to know your particular bell. This is rolling out in the U.S., Canada, UK, Australia, and India, but it's rolling out. So I checked. I was hoping to have this. I don't need it, but anyway. And then the Safe Folder is another feature that they kind of say is about getting ready for school because others might be using your phone or your device, your tablet. So there'll be a PIN-encrypted Safe Folder built into Google Files. And that's the Google Changelog. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your picks of the week. Jeff, do your number thing. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with Jeff, Stacy, and Anthony. Our show today brought to you by Monday.com. We're using Monday.com more and more. I just love Monday.com. If you have a team, and nowadays most teams are spread out, right? Everybody's in a different place. You need a way to manage them. I want you to look at Monday.com. It's a team management platform that lets teams plan, manage, and track work in one centralized place. One version of truth. It lets you collaborate with your teammates. You can track everything everybody's working on. And they have templates for every industry. They even have a podcast template. And it's great for big teams or little teams, 5 to 5,000. Monday.com is the easiest way to keep everybody connected and on track, especially with so many people working from home. This is a project management platform that makes effective teamwork possible anywhere. The beauty part of Monday.com is it imports everything from all of your places automatically. In fact, there's no code automation. So you can put your workflow on autopilot. It's automatically up to date. You'll get alerts, automatic status updates. Project flows will keep your team on track and confident in their work. You could choose how it looks. So if you like Gantt charts, I know you like PERT charts there, Stacy. You could do a timeline, a Kanban, spreadsheet tables. Monday.com does it all. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, I don't want to spend hours getting it all set up. You don't have to. It comes out of the box, ready to go, ready to increase your productivity and efficiency. You can tweak it as you go. They've got templates for every industry, timelines, budgets, project managers. And then the beauty part is they've got onboarding specialists at Monday.com. We had Eddie, who will say, oh, I like where you go here, but what about this? He will even sit down and do it for you, or she. It's awesome. Works with Zoom, with Slack, email, calendar, spreadsheet, everything you use. It goes in there. If you're the boss, you can make data-driven decisions because it's a dashboard for you. But you could track progress and timelines and budgets and know exactly what's going on instead of guessing. One version of the truth, centralized communications, eliminates meetings. When we go back from the home to the office, I'm still going to use Monday.com because who wants to go to meetings? It's great to know exactly what's going on at any given time with everybody on your team. No wonder 100,000 teams are already getting things done every day with Monday.com. They even have a podcast section that is like ready-made for us, for all of our shows. It's really cool. I think you should change the way you work and do it online with a centralized single version of the truth so you know exactly what's going on. Let Monday.com take care of what slows you down. Free up time to focus on the work that gets your juices going in the morning. I love getting up, seeing the board, adding things to it, watching it develop over time. Start your free 14-day trial right now. Go to monday.com/twit. Monday, Monday, monday.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. Great company, great people with a really cool product. Monday.com/twit. Did you see Alphabet, by the way? I forgot to mention this. This could be your number, Jeff. Borrowed $10 billion. Borrowed. What do they need to borrow for? Well, you might ask the same thing of Apple. This is the new corporate thing. You're rolling in the dough. You got plenty of cash. But guess what? People want bonds from you, and you can get incredibly low rates. Might as well just borrow the money.
Money is free.
Money's practically
free. Yeah, when
free.
money's free, you take it,
Take
man.
it.
Especially when times are uncertain like this.
Yep.
That's why we bought a house. Money was free.
So where do I find this free money?
Can I ask what the
you got to be a multinational. Sorry.
What's a 30-year mortgage running these days?
I mean, do they at least have samples?
Mine was like 3 or 2.9.
Wow.
It's practically given
It was ridiculously ridiculous. Although I'm not on a 30-year mortgage.
17 once or something like it was ridiculous.
Do you want to know what the coupon was on the Google bond? They a little bit better than you're getting, 0.45%.
Jeez.
That's as close to free as you can get.
Yeah.
And by the way, they sold it out.
Yeah. You should
probably
take the money
callable.
and run in that sitch.
Yeah. Nice job. Their lowest coupon prior to this, 1.25%. That was back in 2014. Now it's 0.45%. All right, but that's not Jeff's number. That was my number. Let's start with, hey, we never start with Ant. Let's start with Ant's pick of the week.
Yeah.
My pick of the week, I think I had 3 in there, but I'll make sure.
Overachiever.
First off, I know everybody just
they love your wood.
Yeah, I know people are trying to do more things with their photography nowadays with being sheltered in place and whatnot. And money is a bit of a problem with photography because photography can be rather expensive. But I needed some new backdrops for portraits, and I typically would order from different photography shops. And I said, no, let me look around. And sure enough, my friend told me about Michaels.
What the
and
what?
Man, they have photography backdrops. They're not photography backdrops, but they work just as well. And they're about 1/3 of the cost of what I would pay elsewhere.
$9.49 for this beautiful weathered wood, 4 feet by, what did you say, 12 feet?
Yep, 4 feet by 12 feet long. And I'm using one right now if you're watching the video. It
looks real.
And it just looks like real wood back behind me. And I got 3 or 4 different versions that I'm going to use and just easily wrap them up and throw them up on my little C-stand. You can see behind me there. I just got them.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Right up there on the C-stand. But, you know, if you look at me working, you'd never know that was a backdrop. So
I want to get this underwater one for my next Zoom call. It's awesome.
Please do that and wear some goggles too.
I will.
And then my other one is everybody knows I'm into Adobe because that's just what I like. But there are some other projects out there. Vegas is another creative project out there for creating video.
Yeah.
Very well
I've used
known.
their their editors. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Their latest editor is version 18.
Used to
just
be
come out.
Sony. Is it still Sony or are they?
Yeah, Sony used to be on them. I think somebody else.
It looks like somebody else owns them now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And price-wise, it's going to be about half the price of a Creative Cloud subscription. I believe you can get it for $25 a month, or just pay $1,000 a year. So if you're not interested in getting a Adobe subscription, Vegas is another good option out there. We'll have links in the show notes to get to it and check it out.
For a while, I thought that they weren't like timeline based, but it looks like just regular timeline editing. So
yeah, they are.
You already know how to use it.
Premiere Pro, you have DaVinci with Blackmagic, but people tend to forget about Vegas, and it's pretty
Sorry about that. It was kind of loud.
They have all of the same effects and the same tools that you're used to in the other editors, but again, AI generated, so it makes a lot of things faster and easier to work with.
Very nice.
That's an option if you don't want to jump on the Adobe Creative Cloud chain.
And you said you had 3.
Number 3, Twit After Hours this week.
Oh, I'm glad you're promoting this because you're in it. The
I was in the
former
first
winner.
Where we were cooking. And this time, I've been sent some ingredients, but I can't see what they are just yet. All I know is I did not have to put the ingredients in the refrigerator, and I got the ingredients on Monday. A little bizarre.
They're just dry. Remember last time it was escargot, pickled Nepalese cactuses, and chipped beef in a can.
Chipped beef and jackfruit or dragon fruit.
I forgot the dragon fruit, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, but I have no idea what these ingredients are. I put a link in the rundown to show that
Look at your setup. You're getting serious.
I set up the kitchen to try to make it a little more interactive. I thought I did a pretty good job last time, but I think this is going to be even better. So that was me testing it out.
How does Queen Pruitt feel about all this crap in the kitchen?
Oh, no, she's cool with it.
She's very nice.
Is she doing an Aisha Curry where she's like, I'm cooking up a storm? Because she's got the personality of somebody who could be like engaging.
She's totally cool with me doing this stuff just for that reason right there. Just in case she's ready to create something on Snapchat or whatever. She knows, I can do it.
All right. That's 4 p.m. on Friday, Pacific,
4
7 p.m.
Friday.
Eastern.
Check us out on the live stream.
It's going to be really exciting. And it's you, Amanda Hess, from our Ham Nation show. And
cooking ham, I would guess.
I hope she does. And Lou Maresca from This Week in Enterprise Tech. He's an Italian cook. He's very good. He's gonna be
Lou's got me worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lou's got me worried.
And Lou has 5 boys, something like that. He knows how to whip up a lot of food.
But again, hold on. I can show you the box.
How big is it? So these are the ingredients.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
2 celebrity
Smaller than
judges,
a refrigerator?
too. It's going to be fun. Oh, it's not that big.
It's from Amazon.
Not that big.
That's it. So what the heck is in here that I don't have to put in the refrigerator?
Harissa spice. Come on, harissa.
What is this going to be? So I'm a little nervous because Mr. Nielsen, our producer and director, he's pretty cruel. Yeah. About like Mr. Karsten.
He's mean.
Back by popular demand. It's round 2 of Twit After Hours Shelter in Kitchen. 2 celebrity chefs, Michael Wolff and Matthew Amster Burton. 3 Twit friends, Lou Maresca, Amanda Alden, and returning champ, Ann Pruitt. Hosted by Micah Sargent. With mystery ingredients so bizarre. Who will come out victorious? And who will flame out? Watch live. Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific on the Twit live stream.
Okay. So my question is, do you want an active book recommendation or do you want, I have 2, so pick one. Or do you want a tech appropriate beach read? Cookbook or tech appropriate reach read?
A.
Cookbook.
Cookbook? Brave Tart, y'all.
Brave Tart?
Brave Tart.
There's no Mel Gibson involved.
It is nothing to do with Mel Gibson,
Okay.
thank goodness. This is, I can't think of her name right now, but she's a pastry chef. She's part of the Kenji Lopez alt crew of
I
like
love
super
him.
researchy.
Yeah.
And so the recipes are awesome and a bit over the top. Like some of them are like, she has a homemade sprinkles recipe that I'm never going to do, but she also has lots of really accessible recipes that you can do. And the
Stella
best part
Parks?
about, yes, Stella Parks. The best part about this whole book is it has these wonderful essays where she researches and talks about the historical origins of things like chocolate chip cookies or white cake versus yellow cake or oatmeal cream pies. It's awesome. It's like
I need this.
food history, awesome dessert recipes. And I mean, even if you never cook, those essays make it so worthwhile if you're interested in like the history of food or, oh, it's awesome.
But does
So,
she go
that's
into
not
pie versus cake?
So she if you go to bravetart.com, it's the ad for the book and you'll find some of her stuff. She writes on Food 52 and other stuff. But like, y'all, this cookbook is just awesome. A friend of mine gave it to me as a housewarming present and it's really worth it. Like, I don't care if you like to cook or not.
This
That's
looks
it.
like a great book. Stella Parks, Parks, Brave Tart, one word, bravetart.com for more information.
I know it's not connected, but we're going to make homemade oatmeal cream pies. And like, that was my childhood right there. Like totally. And she had a whole essay on them. And I learned all about where they came from, why they were invented, what like food trends were happening.
Num, 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 num. And I like it that she has a chocolate chip cookie in her pocket.
Mine wouldn't last, but
I know she must already eaten a half dozen. I am wearing my my avocado mask that beautifully matches my avocado shirt. I wanted to give a big plug. Thank you, Winton Churchill, who sent this to me. It's from Abrazos, which is a store in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. SanMiguelDesigns.com. These are the seamstresses of San Miguel de Allende and the Brazos. And let me tell you, the masks they have them for adults, they have them for kids. They are in their most amazing, they have the most amazing fabrics. These are beautifully made masks, but the fabrics that they have, I mean, I want to just order a ton of fabrics from them. Piñatas, wouldn't you like a Virgin of Guadalupe mask? Nobody ever got sick wearing the Virgin of Guadalupe. I could tell you that right now. Just incredible stuff. Great Mexican heritage. Here's the Dia de los Muertos and the skulls and so forth. That's Abrazos. It's SanMiguelDesigns.com. And I think I want to bring back style and masks. Get a shirt and a mask, and then you'll have matching, which I think is so cool. I just love it. Bonehead in chocolate, Lucha Libre, purple.
That's pretty awesome.
Isn't that great? Blue pineapples.
I like the picture of the team, the seamstress.
Aren't they cute?
That's awesome.
Don't you just say, "Oh, I want to send you some work."
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
like,
them.
yeah,
Some of them with their
support.
kids. I just love that.
The hand painted furniture is. I think that would little hand painted furniture would enliven Stacy's Skype room.
Oh, should we send her a
It's
chair?
gonna be a nice thing. Yeah,
That's
I
a
think
good
that'd be
idea. I love these classic Mexican painted chairs. They're just beautiful. I just love it.
She could hang the chair on the wall with
Yeah.
it there. It'd be nice. It'd be
And
nice.
you got to see the shirts. That's where all my crazy shirts come from. They're really, really great.
That's some good vibes there.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. You might recognize some of these shirts because I have them.
I wonder why.
Oh, look at that. There's a cerveza shirt. Mr. Jeff Jarvis, a number, please.
So I'll do bad news, good news, post-COVID. The bad news is that Robert Crandall, former chief executive of American Airlines, says that 1/3 to 1/2 of business travel will go away permanently.
Permanently?
Because Zoom. People just got out of the habit. They don't need to do it.
Wow.
They're fine. That's
I
the
thought
bad
you said
news.
because Zoom. And I was like, What?
I did say.
Because Zoom.
Because Zoom.
Because Zoom.
Because of
you
Zoom.
did.
He's not making it
I did
up.
say because Zoom.
Zoom.
Wow.
So then the good news is that Patreon added more than 100,000 new users between mid-March and July.
Wow.
OnlyFans is reporting daily six-figure signups. Etsy logged 115,000 new sellers in the first 3 months of the year. All this thanks to 1.0 on Medium, more than double the past year's user growth. Teachable signed on 14,000 new creators between March and July, and in July reported its first quarterly revenue of $10 million. So what 1.0's headline says that the gig economy is failing. Say hello to the hustle economy. I don't know if it's a hustle economy.
Well,
but I think it's
that's
people
the issue.
who are.
A lot of these people are signing up hoping that they can supplement their income with donations. Doesn't mean they're getting the donations, and that's what really worries me.
Well, except for Etsy is not donations. Etsy is
that's true.
Making things.
Yeah, we've ordered.
And Teachable isn't so much donation as a fee for service.
Right.
Patreon is donations, but
Teachable, you got to get people sign up,
used.
right? You got to get classes.
You got to market.
Yep.
Do you use OnlyFans? Have you got into that? I don't really know OnlyFans.
Isn't that for porn?
I think it is.
What?
But
really?
I don't think it's only. I don't think it's
too.
only porn. Okay, don't show my screen. This is for research purposes only.
Yeah, I've heard it been tied more towards.
I think it could be anything,
porn.
but I think it could be anything.
We're all like, well, when you mentioned OnlyFans, I'm like, well, go Jeff. That is very forward-looking to that be part of it. But yeah, I think it's mostly cam girls.
I think it's a lot of cam girls, but I think it'd be other things as well. So it could be.
I thought having made my first TikTok, maybe I'd go on to OnlyFans.
Here's somebody
there,
says,
but I don't think so.
Here's my workout video, things like that. So
You
I
should
think it's
see.
more
I
than
mean,
that.
maybe you could find an audience there, Jeff. You'd never know.
True.
The world is wide and varied.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And
there's room in it, even for me.
Have an obligation to help. Well, first of all, we got to do Carson's Mask of the Week. Which one do you want me to do, Karsten? This is a 3D printed mask with filters. This is from Etsy. Karsten has a little bit of a dystopian bent to him.
No, really?
So this
Shocking.
is basically a Bane mask. I don't think I'd really want to wear it, but
I saw a small child wearing the traditional plague mask. Plague mask.
yeah, he made us
today.
all plague masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's a shot of Karsten wearing the mask.
We got it.
What is? I don't want to. Oh, there he is. Yeah, you get. Oh, geez, goes well with a bow tie, Karsten.
He looks like the front end of a truck. Come on,
That
Carson.
is so dystopian.
You know what? I think that's a cool compliment. You look like the front end of a truck. A Mack truck? Sure. I like
Just
it.
need a
new,
little bulldog
new
on
meaning to
there.
what, up in your grill.
Yeah, you know, a little bulldog on the hood. And then Carson's son. We were talking about Zach. This is his college fund. So it's an interesting story. You may remember those of you watching Twit on Sunday. Brianna Wu was on and said, tomorrow morning, get up early, 8 a.m. because Analog is going to sell the Analog Pocket, which is a really interesting Game Boy. I want to say emulator, but it's not. It's
not an
using
emulator.
FPGAs to run Game Boy games. It is an emulator in the sense it's not from, Nintendo. 8 minutes, they sold out. I got on there half an hour late, gone. But you know who did not get on there late? Karsten. And he bought one for Zach. And then he said, Zach, you got two options here. You could play it, or you could sell it on eBay and add a little to your college fund. Zach, not being a fool
And being a capitalist.
and being a good capitalist, has listed it on eBay. The starting bid is $1,200.
Get him, Zach.
Go get him, Zach. Well, but it includes the dock and the case. And he already sold it. Did he? Oh, it ended. Karsten. Oh, there's an error in the listing. All right, so we got to get a new listing up here from Frowsy. But when that new listing goes up from Frowsy, here's the new listing. All right, Karsten's put it in the chat room. No, that's something else. Karsten, focus. We want to get Zach's college fund. The device doesn't come out until May of next year, so you're going to be buying that on spec, as they say. But you know what? Maybe Karsten, as we get a little closer to May, maybe we could push that a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You know what? If he doesn't sell it, I'm buying it. Yeah, you have to relist it. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, something went wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, we had about 100 more stories to do, but it is, after all, time to go out and have a Sakatini. Stacey Higginbotham
Wait, how bad was the Sakatini? I have to know.
It was actually delicious.
Okay.
That was Paul.
That was not an option I was prepared for.
Paul Thurrott's wife's invention, a cocktail involving, one would think, pretty awful ingredients: sake mixed with cucumber lime vodka and Cointreau, shaken and poured into a martini glass. And it's very refreshing. And I went to bed early. And that's the whole story, and that's all I'm going to say about that. No, it's actually really good, the Sakatini. Stacey is at stacyoniot.com. There's a newsletter there. You can subscribe to it, absolutely free, well worth it if you want to keep up on IoT. She also hosts a fantastic podcast with Kevin Toffel, the IoT podcast. It is a great way to keep up on IoT. And look for future events coming soon. Her previous event is available there right now. stacyoniot.com/edge. There's also stacyoniot.com/connect, right?
Connected? Yes.
Connected. Okay.
And eventually the events tab on my site will lead to our events, not just random IoT events, since there are fewer random IoT events happening.
There certainly are. Karsten's order is now back up. Here's the new listing. Oh, much prettier. Much prettier.
Look at that.
Much prettier. That's the complete set. You get everything. So that's a good deal. Brand new, unused, unopened, undamaged, original packaging in black. That's a good 17th birthday present, Karsten. It's a little bit of a markup. I will check in again in 6 days and 24 hours to see if I can snipe it. Frowsy on eBay. Look for the Analog Pocket Black. Ant Pruitt is the host of Hands On Photography, Hands On Wellness. He comes here every Wednesday. He is the best. Watch him cook on Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, for our kitchen and kitchen in place? Shelter and kitchen. Shelter and kitchen. Thank you, Ant, for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And, of course, the king of the hour, Jeff Jarvis. He is a director of the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Angry about many things. His COVID Twitter list is a must follow. bit.ly/COVID Twitter list.
Now with, how many do I have now? Quick check. COVID, 13.3 thousand followers.
Wow. I have it as you might see, a column on my TweetDeck. So it's whenever I open TweetDeck, and that's really the only way I read Twitter now, is I have that in that middle column there. That's all of your stuff. It's very nice to have that. It's a really good idea. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Ant. Thank you all for being here. We do Twig 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern every Wednesday. That's 20:30 UTC. You can catch us doing it live. Catch us if you can at twit.tv/live. There's audio and video there. Of course, on-demand versions of everything we do on our website, twit.tv. This show is twit.tv/twig. There is a YouTube channel devoted to This Week in Google. You can go there and watch every show, subscribe. You'll get a notification when that show's out, or subscribe in your favorite podcast application. That's probably the best idea. That way you'll get it automatically the minute it's done. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a great week, a safe week, and we'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Be sure to check out the other shows on the network, like my other show, Hands On Wellness. I love to share different tips and tricks that's going to help you get a better grasp on your personal wellness. Just go to twit.tv/how and subscribe now.